Hey guys, your host Jarvis. I'm all alone, sitting here rocking my guitar. I have no guests. Where's Poppy? Where's Tom? Where's Stu? So you just have to be with me now. But that's okay. We will have time to talk about game. Bruno, especially Bruno. We'll talk about Bruno. Ori, Neil, Driscoll. I don't have a team to end up with. Let's have a debate on topic. So everybody, I will give you a special Jarvis intro for you to see. Never been seen before, just for fun. They did on Snapchat that thing. So bear with me. Stay tuned, and then I will go directly to the intro, and we can start the show.
Hey there, people. How you watching? This is Jarvis, your captain flying the chopper all around the internet. And today we have a special show for you guys. So stay tuned and we will be back after the intro. See you in a bit.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharply to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to...
Oh, I hope you liked my new intro. It was Yale Malmini says, "Yep, there goes my memories of Thomas the Tank Engine." Doot, 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 doot. I remember that. Yeah, that was a great series from my childhood, the lovely 80s. Yeah, I hope you liked it. As I said in the beginning, I'm all alone now because Poppy is running late. Tom is, I don't know where Tom is. Stu is abroad somewhere. He said he might join us, but I don't know. So in the beginning, you will just be with me, your host for the evening. Oh, there comes my brother from another mother. Big up,
What's
big
up,
up, puppy. Thank you. You saved me. I did two minutes on my own, but you missed the intro, Poppy. Let's just have another look on the intro.
Please, let's
Yeah.
see.
It's just some funny thing I made.
Oh, I gotta see this.
Hey there, people. How you watching? This is Jarvis, your captain flying the chopper all around the internet. And today we have a special show for you guys. So stay tuned and we will be back after the intro. See you in a bit.
It's the double wing for me. That is funny. That is funny.
Chop up pilot, and look who just came in, Tom Journalist 1. And we have a special guest tonight, the big man himself, Mr. Mick Ruby.
You called my name? You said my name 3 times.
Sorry. Do you have an echo? Do you have an
I?
echo? An echo?
Do I?
Echo.
Echo chambers. No, we're not echo chambers on this channel, are we?
No, it's no echo
No,
chambers.
I saw you were lonely, and I was like, I am so lonely. I am so lonely. So I thought like I come to save the day, but then obviously Tom pulled up and puppy pulled up. So
If you're tired, I know it's midnight, middle of the night for you. So if you want it, you can stay for a couple of minutes and then jump off
yeah,
whenever.
it's
It's no pressure. It's no pressure.
no, it's 10 past 3. I'm still awake like the vampire.
Very good, very nice, very nice.
So,
Well,
good
let's
evening.
do it. Let's do it as we always do on Jarvis's corner. Let's talk about our weekend. So, football power hour, Poppy, Botswana himself, Aubrey. How you doing, my friend? How was your weekend?
The weekend was actually, it was all right. It was all right. I would have wanted us to win versus Crystal Palace, but I also feel like seeing Arsenal and Manchester City draw, it brought just a little bit of comfort to me, and then I also watched the Serie A, like Serie A derby, Inter Milan versus AC Milan. That was a really good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, there was some really good football that I enjoyed on Sunday more than Saturday. So yeah, and then afterwards I also went out, had some time to just like go out into the city, have some fun and all that. So it was a really good weekend, all things considered. Yeah. So
So
what
yeah,
about you, Travis? You actually, as the host, you never really get to tell us also about your weekend. Let me pass the ball back to you.
I'm very one-dimensional when it comes to my spare time. I'm with my family, my kids. I work, and in the weekends I go golfing. So this weekend I did 18 holes on Saturday and
Ooh.
18 holes on Sunday. I did a tournament,
Nice.
scramble tournament. If you don't know what a scramble tournament, you play with a team. You play with a team of 4, and you play with the best shot every time. So you usually get a
Ooh.
good score. So we won that tournament, of course. Go for
Nice.
Jarvis. But yeah, I was happy. So that was my first tournament win so far. So enough about my bragging, my humble bragging. Sorry. let's just move on to Tom. Tom, how are you, my friend?
Not bad, not bad. I hope everyone's had a good week and everything. I had a little bit better every weekend than everybody. I went to Wembley. I went to watch the boxing. Me and a couple of friends and that. We hired out a box for the fight. And we watched the whole fight. So I didn't watch the game live. I've watched it fully though on Sunday. So I have caught up with the game and stuff. So
Okay.
I've familiarised myself with it. But yeah, I had a good weekend, and yeah, I hope everybody else has had a good weekend too.
But how was the match?
You watched, sorry?
How was the boxing match?
It was great, to be fair, Jarvis. I've not been to one live at Wembley before. I've been to one that's live in Manchester before in Sheffield. I've never been down to Wembley. I've been to obviously the cup finals and stuff before, but I've never been to a live boxing match before. 98,000 people, lights, camera, action. It was.
Did you have court size seats?
No, we had a box. You
Or a
know
box?
where you have with Wembley, you have the corporate boxes, don't you? We hired one out for the event itself. One of my friends.
Okay, Tom. The flex, casual flex.
Millionaires.
I had a cigar and I was and a whiskey and I was on the box. Okay, Tom, we see you. Respect.
listen. Corporate day out. I don't know what you want to call it. Business weekend out. But no, yeah, it was good. Main event. From what we saw anyway, it was a brilliant event. Brilliant hospitality from all the staff there as always. We've done it a couple of times with the cup finals and stuff. But yeah, it's been a good weekend, and yeah, I hope everyone else has had a good weekend as well. And yeah, positive vibes as always. But shame the football didn't come through for us as well, lads.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had a good weekend, Tom, and that you enjoyed your boxing. Didn't the underdog win?
Yeah, he beat AJ.
He beat AJ.
Daniel Dubois. Listen, your boy KG, mate. I saw him. He was sweating. He was sweating after I saw him. I've seen the clips and everything that people have put online and stuff, mate. That boy was sweating in that green suit.
Daniel Dubois and who's the other one?
Anthony Joshua. Yeah, well, Joshua's the superstar, if you like, and Dubois is almost like the up and comer who's people have written off and stuff. But Yeah, it was good. It was a good fight. From what we saw and everything, and yeah, hopefully there'll be many more events to come in the UK. Maybe even at the new Old Trafford that we'll discuss about. Maybe it might even be bigger than what it can host 100,000 people. So who knows?
We will talk more about the new plans for Old Trafford and the area around. We will come to that soon. But last but not least, Mick Ruby, how was your weekend? Did you work all night, all day, or did you have a break?
Yes. Yeah, I had a small break. I did. I was left stranded alone to do a post-match review. Nobody wanted to come. So, yeah, barring than that, where did everyone go? I don't know. I kept looking in my pockets. There was no Jarvis. I turned around. There was no Papi. I asked his dog Bruno, where the hell is Football Power Hour? It's like he's out snacking. He's out there buying something. I don't know what the hell is going on. Barring than that, yes. Level-headed, looking at the progress, level-headed, thinking that, damn, we should have won this game with 4-0, 3-0. But it was kind of one of those games we've seen this script before. I've seen this football game before when the fucking ball just refuses to dazzle the net. And when you have an ex-Man United goalkeeper, he must have looked back and said, Jesus, that was the fucking best game of my life. And that was against my own teammates. So it wasn't that bad when you look at the, everyone was slagging United for coming away with 1 point. But what about the other top, Arsenal, City? There was also a draw. There was a few draws that was kind of favoring us at the end of the day. But yeah, of course I was disappointed 3 points. But what you do is just take a break from football and do something else, right? Take your dog out for a walk and think fresh. Because then you look around and other fan reaction media and you see shit storms, And then I listened to Steve Housen, and I pretty much fucking agree with Steve Housen was saying as well, because there is progression. If you're looking at last season, the number of shots conceded and the gaping hole in the midfield, I mean, guys, this was, I think, was third or fourth clean sheet, but the just ball didn't want to fucking go in, and that's it. But there's definitely progress. Yeah, that's the way I see it.
Yeah. Well, we can talk more about the game later, because first of all, we will talk. The main topic of the show is called Bruno, high risk, low reward. So we will have a debate on Bruno. Some people say that he's becoming a liability. He's constantly risk-taking and over-reliance on his Hollywood past. That has raised the question now lately. I've seen the debates on other YouTube channels about his role. And is it just time? Is it just a dip in form? Or has his undisciplined play become a real problem? And should we trust him to bounce back? Or is it time for Ten Hag to make a bold decision and sack him? So let's just start with this, and afterwards we will go to Tom's first topic on the Old Trafford Stadium. So first of all, I think I will let Tom go first and have a say. What's your thought about Bruno's latest performance, and do you think Ten Hag should make a bold decision and put him on the bench?
He should, he could, but he won't. That's the problem. Look, when we said at the start of the season about who his key players are, you always mention Rashford and Bruno. They're the main two who people say that are his key players because they've got him out of jail before and they've done it time and time again for the club, but they don't do it consistently enough. Fernandes, we've said this for years now, he came over from Portugal. If we're facing facts, guys, for 3 years he never really got coached. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't really coach him anything that he didn't already know. It was fast transitional football, and the way that Fernandes plays this Hollywood pass was the exact same that he was doing for that 3 years. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. You win some, you lose some. That was the way that Manchester United had to deal with it. with Bruno, the inconsistencies to be able to keep the ball. If Ten Hag wants to play this transitional possession-based hybrid football, you can't play it with Bruno Fernandes. I've seen enough of what I've seen from the guy. He's been here 4 or 5 years now, is he not, guys? 4 or 5 seasons, we could argue. He's now Manchester United club captain. He's worked under 3 different coaches who have 3 different styles, and it's still not working. There's a time and a place where you have to say, maybe he just doesn't fit what we're trying to do. And he doesn't. Apart from that one pass that he has in his locker, guys, and he can shoot a ball from 50 yards and he can do a hopscotch over the football and play a penalty, he doesn't really offer as much, if we're being honest. Eriksen offers us more as a team than Bruno does as a team. Bruno is an individualising player. He always has been, because, and we base him as being the stats guy, because he always had great GAs. Same thing with Rashford. He had great GAs, but stats, you can only hide behind stats for so long until they start drying up. And they've dried up for him. They have. If you want a team player, Eriksen's more of a team player than Fernandes, because he knows how to discipline with the ball, guys. And the one thing that Dino Nuruddin said on his show the other night was, when you have the ball, you don't actually have to do a lot of running when you have possession of the ball, guys. The ball does the running for you when you play it. Eriksen, we've said, his legs have gone. If you're in possession of the ball, what do you have to worry about Eriksen for? You don't. If you put him in that number 10, guys, do we really say that a number 10 is a key player in terms of breaking transitions or defensive play? He's not. A number 10 should be high up the field for you, creating chances. He shouldn't be on the 18-yard box scrambling to try and block crosses. He shouldn't be. So Eriksen, in that case, as a number 10, he offers you far more. What we saw in that Barnsley game, and I know the difference in quality is there, guys, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Eriksen, the simplistic passes that he made, guys, the weight of the passes, the timing of them, if the mega pass isn't on to play him behind, he just plays it simple. But he doesn't play it sideways or backwards. He plays a simple pass forwards. He doesn't look back, Eriksen. He's not a player that looks back most of the times. And that's my frustration with Fernandes is it's either when he sees the pass going forward, he just plays a 50-yard pass and somebody's got to run in behind for it. But possession-based teams don't run in behind when you play a 50-yard pass. The amount of times, guys, have you ever seen Kevin De Bruyne play 50-yard passes in behind and people running behind for them? You don't. They build up as a team and they take the ball forward up the pitch as a team. Fernandes is not going to fit into that system. He's not. Eriksen fits the profile of that. There's a lot of players in Europe, guys, that you could get who fit that way that you want to play. We said it before about players like Gavi, Pedri, Dani Olmo's another one who had a brilliant European Championships. There's players out there that can play that role far better than what Fernandes does. The only thing that he has credit in the bank for is he's club captain of Manchester United. He's one of the front-facing figures of the club. And also, people perceive him as being the greatest signing since Fergie left.
Yeah.
I couldn't give a fuck if you've been the greatest signing since Fergie left. Who cares? Who cares? Have we won anything substantial, guys? So what does it matter? It doesn't matter for anything, does it? He's not the best player since Fergie's left. We've won nothing. He's on par with the rest of them. We've not won anything major or of credible due respect. We've not won league titles. We've not won European Cups. So how can you label him as being the greatest player since Fergie's left? And that's how sad we are as fans. That's what we hold on to. Instead of talking about winning league titles, guys, we talk about who's the best signing that we've had since Fergie left, since Fergie retired. Is that really what the levels that we've sunk at? But Fernandes, for what he gives on the pitch, guys, he doesn't give you very lot, apart from that one super pass. And that's why, for me, when we saw that one game, and it exposed why Bruno Fernandes is a hindrance to this team more times than he is an actual positive for us, when we played Liverpool at their ground, and yeah, it was a 0-0 draw. We played Amrabat Minor when we played Casemiro in the game. That was the midfield three. The difference was it was balanced because you didn't have a creative number 10, no, but you had 2 8s. You had 2 8s and you had a number 6, and it worked because they're all disciplined with the ball, and they're not going to play that 50-yard pass every single time. They might try it maybe once every 10, 20 minutes in a game. Not every 5 seconds that you have the ball, first thing that you think, play a 50-yard pass, someone's going to run in behind for it. That's not the way that you're going to play possession-based football. And I'm sorry, when I look at the age that he's at now, guys, tell me what age is he? What is he, 29, 30?
29, yeah.
Well, he's 29 years old. He's maybe got 2-3 years left at the high level. And he's not changed in 5 years. He's not changed. And that concerns me. And as my final point to round
He's
up
30,
the whole
by the way.
trio. Yeah, well, he's 30. Well, there you go, when he's 30. He's got 2 years left at the highest level. This injury record isn't going to stand up for long, guys. So he will get injuries as he gets older. He's going to pick up knocks. His statistics that people hide behind of him is going better. But the difference is, when you want somebody to lead this team, when the going gets tough in games, he doesn't evolve players. He doesn't evolve them. He doesn't inspire players as a club captain. He doesn't. I don't look at him and think, oh, we're 2-0 down at Anfield. There's still something to play for in the title racing game. He's not the sort of player that's going to evolve this game and turn things around for you. Players like Odegaard, players like De Bruyne, who have been built in big football clubs like Real Madrid, like at City, where, yeah, they have been protected as players. But they also work in key systems where they're key parts of that system. Fernandes is not a key part of the system. He's a key player to the club, not the system. And that's why, for me, when people argue about statistics can only get you so far. At the end of his career, when he's 30 now, guys, do I think that he's going to have a Premier League winners' medal on his table when he puts his medals on the table? Are we really going to win a league title in the next 2 or 3 years? That's what I'm going to say. And by that time, guys, he's 33. His best years are behind him. Gone. And he'll have achieved nothing. Nothing of substantial to us as Manchester United fans. An FA Cup and a Carabao Cup means something. But this club wasn't built on cups. It was built on leagues and European titles. And that's where we're going to fall short of it. And Fernandes, for me, he doesn't fit this system or the way that he wants to play going future-wise. But go ahead, Jarvis.
No, it's okay. You make a lot of good points, but I see, for example, Rashmano coming in and they say don't cherry pick to prove your point. The facts are that we have won things recently, and you know it weighs a lot when you win a FA Cup, at least, maybe not a League Cup, but you know he's done bits, so we can't dismiss him 100% for his achievements.
Yeah, he's won things at the club. Loads of players have won things at this club. Luke Shaw's won things at this club, guys. Do we give him royal praise like we do Fernandes? No, we don't. We slam the guy.
Yeah.
So Fernandes should be no different in this case. If he wins a league title in the next 2-3 years, I'll give him his flowers and I'll give him his praise. But I always use this motto, guys. When you spend a full contract at a big football club for over 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and you haven't won a league title or a European Cup, when you're at a big European club, they get rid of you because you've not proven it in that first contract that they've given you. And we've just put him on a new contract now, guys. He's tied down for life at this club. So you've got a life of this megalodon pass. Unless something's going to change coaching-wise in the next 12 to 18 months, where he's going to evolve and he's going to suddenly be able to keep the ball and protect it well. He's not built like a traditional midfielder, guys, where they're strong, they're tough. He can shield the ball. He either goes down and pleads for insanity to get a free kick, or he loses the ball. He doesn't have those powers to shield players off like Odegaard or De Bruyne. Even if you don't want to use high-profile players, guys, I see Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle do it. I see players at Villa do it.
On when he plays for Portugal, he plays on the left wing.
Okay.
And people always make that argument that he's not as erratic when he plays for Portugal. He's more composed. He's better on the ball. You heard that argument before, Mick.
Yeah.
So do you think maybe Ten Hag can accommodate Bruno in a better way? Maybe put him on the wings or do something like that to make it work better for the the team.
I'm going to play the devil's advocate here already.
Yep.
And I acknowledge what everyone is saying, but the thing is, we got to take in consideration that Bruno Fernandes, when he was recruited in that January, hit the ground running. Nobody's done that so far. Like, he made an instant impact. Normally, new signings don't do that. And I can argue to the point that we've been trying to build that midfield ever since Pogba as well. Yeah, Pogba was the one that stood out as well, but we never had quality players around Pogba, and therefore, he got all the stick and shit. Now, third season, I agree what you're saying. When he plays for Portugal, he plays more disciplined. And yes, I can acknowledge that his Hollywood pass has been there, but that's Bruno's game. He's a risk taker, right? 100%. But this third year season, I see something different in Bruno. He's more disciplined, right? I don't see that many Hollywood passes, right? But I haven't really seen the best of Bruno as of yet. But when it pays off, when he finds the through balls and everything, it's brilliant, right? So I think that he's more disciplined. He's been told to play more of a mature role. And I think also with the new policy of rotation, we might even see Bruno being rested more, because he basically started every single game. He was the one that instigated and leading the press last season, but now we're pressing with 4 players on top, right? Not just Bruno. Before, he was running around sporadically like a headless chicken and was very emotional and petulant, right? But that is his game. He's emotional. That is what fires him up in a certain ways. So I think that to say that he hasn't won anything, maybe he will, right? We won we won the Carabao Cup, we won the FA Cup, and the reason why he probably stayed, because they sold him the pipe dream that this is the trajectory, this is what this team is going to go, this is who we're going to recruit, and this is where we want to be. And Ten Hag always says, we have a plan, we know what we want to be. So, and Bruno plays an important part of this team, But we've seen also Eriksen can play the number 10 role quite well as well. Xerxes can play that role as well, arguably to say. Ahmad can play that role as well. So I see the season will be Bruno can get a lot of rest, because when was the last time we saw a bench that we actually have a full fit squad and a bench that can compete? So it's competition for places. Nobody's safe. So I argue to the point as the devil advocates that I don't really understand why he gets a lot of stake, because A, he's always available. B, he always work for the club. He loves this club. He loves this shirt. He wants to win. He's a winner. And when the team is not pulling, he's trying to be the leader, try to do everything, and sometimes it's too much, right? And this is what we see him running around too much. But again, I come back to the last 5 games, what I've seen, including since we kicked off, that he's been playing more disciplined, right? Not as much risks, and that's kind of the way I see it so far.
Yeah, I think a lot of people disagree with you when it comes to Bruno and being more disciplined. But in a way, I think I can agree with you if you look at the stats, because as you see, we have improved. We're not conceding 20 shots every game, and we are more controlled. It's not that many turnovers as it used to be, especially last season. There's a lot of other factors, but I think Bruno playing more secure is one of those. But still, I think it's too much. I think he gives away the ball too much, especially when it comes into moments of the game where things becomes hectic. He tries to force it. First half against the Crystal Palace, he was okay. Second half, still 0-0. He's trying to force a goal. He lets his emotions get the better of him, and in a way starts to stop thinking. He stops playing with his brain and starts playing with his heart all the time. And that's a big problem with Bruno. I think it was even Ollie who said he couldn't give him the captaincy because he was too emotional. And I think that's a big problem. Poppy, what's your thoughts on the Bruno when it comes to this latest? There's been a lot of critiques.
Yeah, I have to push back from Tom's perspective and say, I think he's one of those players that right now he's not having his best moment. Let's remember that Bruno was playing really, really well before Rashford got subbed in. And in a very frustrating game that Mick really described it, like, the ball just didn't want to go in. You were trying to sort of like, he got into this headspace where he was like, let's try and just a miracle pass will save us from this like really game of bad luck. And let's not forget, Bruno and Rashford, 2 seasons ago, they had the most chances as a pair. They had the most chances created, and in compared to all the clubs, like actually in the Premier League, they were up there. So, and that's because we're playing a lot more hoof ball than any other ball. And I feel like it's part of where the muscle memory just kicked in, and they're trying to sort of just like bail us out. And it's not like Bruno doesn't want Manchester United to win. It's not like Bruno is not somebody who's not a technical player. He actually has the ability to be a technical player and take care of the ball well. And I really think like there's other parts. Of course, his bad form right now, it's not really helping him. But like there's other parts of his game that are not properly appreciated by the fan base. That is, one, penalty taking success. That penalty, like having a penalty from open play, you gotta get it to somebody that is reliable. And Bruno, 9 out of 10 times, that finds the back of the net. Secondly, he has a very, very high defensive work rate. He's somebody that will give his blood, sweat, and tears on the pitch to make sure that, like, he of course he's overplayed. There's moments when you're looking at him, if you're on a Bruno like focus, you can see him sort of conserving his energy, kind of, but that's because he knows that, oh, I'm playing probably the whole 90 minutes. And that obviously has to be we have to look at the manager for that and say, nobody should think that they're indispensable in the squad, right? But that is not Bruno's fault. That is just a consequence of Bruno just trying to make sure that he's not fully 100% sprinting every single time. And we know sprinting is not pace is not a part of his game. So I really feel like he's somebody that has longevity. I mean, he can still be playing at a very high level as long as he you take Rashford out of that equation, you most likely will get a very, very good Bruno Fernandes. We had a show earlier on this morning where we're just sort of talking about sort of the just the things that we observed from the Crystal Palace game. I know I'm preempting the conversation a little bit, Jarvis, but this is sort of like an equation that will like solve for X, and Bruno plus Rashford equals hoof ball. That's literally like, one of the things, that talking points of the conversation that we landed at, because it is precisely that thing where I feel like they were just trying to just bail us out in a very frustrating game, and all that is being is overshadowing all the stuff that Bruno has done for the team. So I really want to just say he's in a bad moment right now. Christian Eriksen can come in and be the go-to number 10 until Christian Eriksen. Until Christian Eriksen has a bad game, we rotate. Then we put Bruno back. A well-charged Bruno is a very dangerous Bruno. Honestly,
I agree. Yeah. I mean, there was that moment when he had this connection with Xerxes. They did 1-2 pass, and he decided to go with the outside of his boot, like, and instead of smashing it, like, And I was going, why with the outside? You just went wide out the post. If you just smashed it and placed it, it would have been 1-0, right? But still, like, I totally agree what you're saying there, but he's still a chance creator, like, on his best. And that's what his game is all about, right? Some people say, well, I like when he plays deeper, but, I like him to play behind the striker. That is the best position, or play out on the wing sometimes. But, in certain ways, like, I'm very impressed what Xerxes have done, like, in that role, because Xerxes for me is not a number 9. He's more of a hybrid between 10 and 9, like a 9.5. So I'm very impressed. And as soon as we took off Xerxes, all that creativity went tits up, right? And that's where Bruno went sporadic and tried sort of to be the hero, tried to create, like, because he's a winner, he's a leader, and he's a captain, so... Yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, I don't want to be saying boo or bah, or you know what I mean, but because I see it from that perspective that, as I started, like, he's been the most consistent signing since he came in January, and always been available. So, And I think that at the end of the day, there is progress. And, you know, if we're going to win trophies, he's probably going to finish his career at United at age 33 and then probably go to Saudi or something. So let's just enjoy, Bruno, what we have and build from the back. Then there's a lot of exciting talent coming in as well from the youth, and how we recruit the best talent around the world. And, you know, we are slowly getting there. Yeah.
Since this is the main topic of the evening, we will go another round, and I will ask Tom one question more about this topic because Tom, we have seen Bruno doing a lot of these things over and over again. Sometimes he succeeds, sometimes he's not. But do you think Ten Hag can actually coach Bruno to play more consistently, more secure, being more disciplined in a way? Do you think Ten Hag has it in his locker to help Bruno to become the player Ten Hag actually needs? Because at the moment, I feel that sometimes Bruno is pushing too hard for us to succeed, to have a goal, to have an assist, but sometimes we should just recycle the ball, keep possession, because when you have the ball, the opposition can't score. So in a way, we defend when we keep possession. And this has been a problem, at least last season, and a little bit this season too in spells. We saw it against Crystal Palace. We saw it against Liverpool sometimes.
Yeah.
So do you think Ten Hag has it in his locker to figure out how to utilize Bruno at his best?
It's hard to say, because if we consider the fact that he's been 3 years now and 3 seasons, and he's still doing the same things that we associate with when he was under Ole, which was that Hollywood pass and he can't keep the ball, disciplined control of the ball, then I don't understand how all of a sudden Ten Hag's going to resurrect him and coach him in a way that's suddenly going to benefit him to keep possession of the ball. The best thing that I could have said with Fernandes when we bought him to this league was you needed to bulk him up a little bit. He needed to adapt to how players play in this league, which is the ball to feet, 5-yard passes, not 50-yard passes. That the best way scenario that I can say is when he plays in that Portugal team, and there, like you guys said, he plays off to the left. But the difference is in that team, you have midfielders that play on the wings. Bernardo Silva is a traditional midfield player, but he plays on the wing. He does the same thing for Pep at City, and it works. Fernandes, we have tried him on the wings, guys. I remember when we were playing him at right wing one point, and people were thinking, well, what are we putting him out there for? But we didn't have anybody to play right wing at that point. That's the reason why we did it. And with Fernandes now, listen, I liked Fernandes when he first came to this club. Don't get me wrong, he got me off the edge of my seat. He was scoring goals consistently. But when those goals dry up, guys, and the assist and the statistic, you can't use statistics to back the guy. You're only going to see football with what you see with your eye. And I see the guy lose the ball a lot, more than importantly. The more important thing to me in the way that I think we should play is if you have a midfield which is balanced and that can keep control of the ball, majority of the time, guys, when you play teams like Palace, you haven't got to worry about defending because you'll have more of the ball than them for most of the game. So defensively, you're not going to concede as many shots. You're not going to concede as many chances in your own goal. Fernandes doesn't help us in that case of keeping discipline of the ball. The reason why people defend the guy so much and they love the guy so much is because he can score a goal. Like Pappy said, he's a reliable penalty kick taker. He's got the armband on his sleeve. If he didn't have those things, guys, what would be us? You wouldn't be sitting there and defending him as much as you do. You wouldn't. Most people wouldn't. I like Fernandes as a player, but he's at that age now, guys, where consistently has to kick in. And a manager shouldn't have to motivate you in a way where you can get the best. He doesn't need to get the best out of himself. As a captain, you have to get the best out of most of the players on the pitch. If they're having a bad day, if they're having a shit day, like what we saw at Liverpool, guys, he should have put his arm around Casemiro. Yeah, Casemiro's a lot more experienced than him. He's done bigger things than him in the game. But the captain of Man United, you speak the same they can both speak Portuguese if Casemiro's not fluent in English. They can both speak the same language. As a leader, as a captain, you need to help your teammates out. I don't see it from that side of it. And what I've just said before about statistics, I am not a stats guy. I watch football where you see the ball go in the back of the net, you see the ball go in your own net. But I also see where the ball goes and who keeps the ball and who doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the most. If you've got stats up, guys, you could probably find out that he loses the. He's probably one of the most high-profile midfielders in world football that loses the ball most. He's probably on that list somewhere. Somebody can probably find a stat from somewhere. So statistically, yeah, it's positive. It was positive when he was scoring goals for fun and creating chances for fun a couple of seasons ago under Ole. He suited that style of football. This football doesn't suit him. It doesn't. And if you want to argue against the point, guys, if you took Guardiola at his word and you said that you've got Bruno Fernandes as a player and he watched him in a training session and he watched a couple of clips of him in a game, forget that he's a Manchester United player right now, Pep wouldn't take him because he doesn't fit that style. I could argue that the same thing with Arteta. He wouldn't take him because he doesn't fit that style. Regardless if he's a Manchester United player now, if he was that same kid that was at Sporting, he wouldn't take him because he can't keep the control of the ball. The argument that I would make for Fernandes, where I don't think he's had a good ride at Manchester United, is he was a number 8. He wasn't this number 10. He has been forced to play as a number 10 at Manchester United because he's a creative player. But he's a creative number 8. He's not a creative number 10. And from what you've said, Jarvis, with the question about coaching, a coach can only do so much basics in the game. They can show you tactically where you're going wrong on the screen, on spreadsheets, statistically. But it's the player who has to improve. On the pitch, the coaches can break it down for you and show you where you're going wrong. You have to make the adjustments and the improvements yourself. And he's not done that in 3 years with Ten Hag. He didn't do that with nearly 2.5 years with Ole. And listen, we won't count the Ragnick thing because that was a disaster class anyway. But those two different styles, guys, one style suited him in Ole. We saw him play his best football. I'll say that. I think he was Ole's probably best player. But with Ten Hag, could we argue to say that he's been Ten Hag's best player? I'm not so sure. I've seen Ten Hag get a lot more out of other players in this squad. He's done quite well with Kobe Mino. He's done quite well with Garnacho. Okay, Rashford that first season, you can say it was Benny McCarthy or it was Ten Hag, whatever. He's got good morals out of a lot of these players. But Fernandes has almost been a player who's been forced upon him because he was a superstar player a couple of years ago. And he's a figure face of this football club. He is. We've said this before. Bruno's the face that runs the place almost at Manchester United, and Marcus Rashford's the poster boy. That's how we remember those two players. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, coaching can only get you so far. Pep works with lots of players over his career. He'll try and coach a couple of them to play a certain way. But if they just don't get it or they're not improving, they're gone. He did it. He tried to do it with some of those defenders that were at City before. They couldn't do it for him. So he got rid of them. And he brought in proper players who could play out from the back and play that system. Midfield, in the turnovers of the game, guys, like I say, if you had a 10 who can keep the ball high up the pitch for you, you don't have to worry about defending so much. You don't have to worry about that big gaping hole in midfield because you've got the ball. You're in control. And that's the point that I don't like with Fernandes is that he just can't keep control of the ball disciplined enough. If he can't hold players off, guys, play the simple pass so that you don't have to hold players off. Somebody else has the ball. But he doesn't even do that. It's always, I need to turn on a player. I need to do something that's going to galvanise us. But football can be complex, but it can also be simple at the same time. If you've got a player in the back of you, you ain't going to turn that player when they're on your shoulder. Just play the ball backwards. Eriksen proved that, and I understand it was against Barnes that he proved that. And that's why, for me, when we look at Fernandes, I think we mismanaged him from day one. He was a number 8, and you forced him to play number 10. And that's why he probably gets as much shit as I give him, say now. But I give him shit because I want the best for my football club.
Yeah.
And he's the superstar player, guys. But he goes missing in big games. He does. I've seen it.
But
Ten Hag
Tom,
coaching can only get you so far.
Sorry for interrupting you, but you're touching on a vital point when it comes to Bruno. But I think a lot of Bruno's thought process is he taking on responsibility. It's trying to carry the team as good as he can, playing as best as his abilities. But now we have several options. We have Xerxes who can play in the 10, who is a creative player. We have Ahmad, who is a creative player. So we have more creative players, outlets.
We let one go, Jarvis. We let one go to Chelsea and Sancho because Ten Hag couldn't coach him. He couldn't do anything with him. But he goes to Chelsea. He's got 2 assists already. He's doing something in that team.
I have to agree. I'm glad we got rid of Sancho.
He's an impact player.
It's not all on Ten Hag when it comes to Sancho, but that's another whole other debate.
No, it is. The difference though, Jarvis, is it's a creative player. It's a solution. And the problem that I'm saying is you can play Ahmed at number 10. Is he ever going to drop Fernandes to put Ahmed at 10? He's not. He's never going to do it. So the only way that you're going to get out of this is if Fernandes, God forbid, he got an injury, and you can see the difference over a consistent couple of games of how we play, or you take him out of the firing line and you let somebody else have a go. At the end of the day, big games, he needs to perform. He's been at this club a while. He's the club captain. We need to see consistency. He's 30 years old. Stop treating him like he's 23. He's not a kid. He's an experienced player.
Tom, you view Bruno as a liability. I view him as an asset, and I think it's one of those things where we'll just agree to disagree on him, because I think Arteta would take Bruno in a heartbeat. Mitch in the comments sort of said, if Arteta can take Jesus and Sterling, why would he hesitate with Bruno? Odegaard is injured right now. The availability of Bruno is one of the biggest things that a coach can value. And I feel like Pep Guardiola would also say, listen, Kevin De Bruyne is great, but Kevin De Bruyne right now, he's not as available as he used to. He's somebody like most of the attributes that of course that's like different profile players, but at the same time, the chance creators, and Bruno just needs to be told, listen, when you are playing, and even Marcus Rashford is in the team, we're not doing hoofball anymore. And it's really that simple. And he has the IQ to be able to do the conservative pass and keep the ball ticking. He has the energy and the passion to make sure that off the ball, he does not let the team down. And I've seen
Why doesn't he though, Papa? That's the point.
Well,
Why
right now
he's
in a bad patch. He's in a bad form. Players go through good form moments and bad form moments. And right now, the reality of the situation is Bruno is in a bad form, and he just needs to rest and be given the opportunity to learn and see how Christian Eriksen is doing it. And then from there, we'll get the best of Bruno very soon. Before Spurs, we can visit this conversation again, Tom, and I promise you we'll be singing praises to Bruno.
I see we have a special guest in the green room. Mr. Woolley, whenever you're ready, just jump on. Give me the thumbs up. See you are in your...
I'm ready now. Greetings from Budapest. I just thought I'd say a quick hello.
Hey, Stewie.
Dobre. Or how do you say...
I don't really know. I'm tired of it. It's been a long day.
Goulash.
Goulash. That's Hungarian. That's how you say hello in Hungarian?
Oh, right. Well, we haven't had goulash just yet, so I think potentially tomorrow. But I got a nice little hotel room, so I'm kind of just settled in. So I just thought I'd come and say a quick hello to the VAR room and the legends that are on screen as we speak. After that, how am I going to call it? I don't know what to call it. Performance on Saturday. Yeah, I don't know what to call it. It wasn't great, but anyway, we're still here to fight another day. But the big news is the mighty Tipton Town. I skippered them to a 6-0 victory over the weekend. So there you go. So we beat Bishop Town 6-0. So that's always a winner. Always a winner.
6-0. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
It happens occasionally. Not too often, but occasionally. What have I missed?
No, we are having the Bruno debate. We are talking about Bruno. Is he becoming a liability, or should we just keep playing him? Or What do you think? What's Ten Hag's option in this?
It's one of those tricky ones because I made a point in the summer, didn't I, Jarvis, that I would have accepted money if big money had come in for Bruno. I would have taken that and used it as a backbone and a springboard to rebuild the squad to what we want it to be. I didn't think he played particularly well on Saturday evening, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's had the best season so far. But the problem is with Bruno, he has a habit of delivering on the odd game now and again. He's just not delivering to the consistency that we had 2 years ago. Now, I don't know what that's about. I'm not saying his game is declining. I'm not saying that he as an individual is declining. Whether we're playing to his strengths anymore, I don't know. But these types of players like Bruno, have got the ability to weather this particular hailstorm that he finds himself in. So, somebody said to me Saturday evening, would you have taken off Bruno and put Mount in? Would you have seen what he could do? Was it right to choose Eriksen? Eriksen and Bruno gel? Would Agate and Bruno be a better option? Nobody seems to know, I don't think, right now where Bruno fits into the side. And I'll tell you, the biggest issue that you've got with him is our good old mate Joshua Zirkzee, because what you're finding is he's kind of moving into Bruno's position where Bruno likes to play. Zirkzee's picking the ball up from deep, and he's utilising it slightly better. I mean, if you see all the Twitter headlines, all the fan blogs, etc., they all think that Zirkzee had a superb game on Saturday, and I think he did. He played a very good game. My biggest issue with the whole game as a whole was, and I briefly said it to you, Jarvis, was dead air. We played, I reckon, about 8 minutes of dead air football of, Martinez playing it back to De Ligt playing it back to Martinez, playing it to Mazzari, playing it to Dallo. We roughly about 8 minutes of that passage of play. Well, people will say, well, they sat deep and all this and all that kind of thing, but you've got to force the error. You've got to force the team to come onto you. And we didn't do that because they narrowed the pitch brilliantly, did Palace, also widened the pitch brilliantly at the same time. The way that he put them into a formation of a 4-5-1, a 4-4-2 was perfect in stopping us and strangling.
It was actually more like a 5-5 or a 5-4-1.
Yeah, whichever.
Yeah.
What they did, they strangled us. So when you get strangled, you've got to punch your way out of it, and you can't punch your way out of it when Martinez is passing to De Ligt. De Ligt is passing to Mazzari. It's going back to De Ligt, back to Martinez, back to Anane. You can't do that. And so our transition on our turnover play, I thought, was quite slack at times. But I listened to what Mick was saying, and Mick was right. We actually played a very good game of football when we had possession and we dealt with the ball in possession. It's just we didn't deal with it enough in possession with any pace and any directness and any absolute willing to go and take the game by scruff of neck. Well, people will always say, well, Garnacho hit the bar, Bruno hit the bar. Garnacho should have buried that. It's a shocking miss. Unfortunately, it's
they all did. But you're right there, because me and Papi were talking about it. The possession wise, how we handle the ball has actually increased.
Yeah.
We had 67% possession, right? 15 shots, total shots, right? And as I said, that the fucking ball just didn't want to go in. It was just like, Henderson, licked his lips and said, well, how the fuck did this happen? What I mean? Yeah, crossbar shot, and then Bruno second and return, another crossbar, but damn, And as soon as that happened, Stu, I thought, I've seen this story before. This ball ain't gonna go in. It's one
correct.
Of those days.
Yeah. We have seen that story before, and that's the problem. Eric Cantona was the greatest exponent of one chance and finish. And that's what you need in games like that. You got to take that ball. You got to, you get the one chance. You got to score goals. So, I'm sure you guys have already spoken about, the inadequacies that we have within the team when it comes to finishing and the game itself. So, quite disappointing. But the positives are we wouldn't have had 72%, 74% play last season.
69% possession, I believe we had. But a question, Stu, because a lot of people have been criticizing Ten Hag for his subs in the latest minute because he took off all the creative players. But no one has seemed to mention that Oliver Glasner also took off his striker and set up a low block. He actually pulled the emergency brake. But do you think Ten Hag at the same moment realized that United have huffed and puffed during the first 70 minutes and we actually couldn't score? So we learned from the Brighton game and also pulled the emergency brake because he saw that the players were knackered and they were dropping in performance. So maybe he was actually just securing 1 point at the moment and thought, okay, we might not win it, so let's not lose it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I've done in the past, with, when I've managed teams, you've looked at it and thought, well, 70 minutes, we just banged and banged and banged and, we haven't got anywhere. It's like poor old Anthony Joshua walking on to Dubois' right hand in the first round. You always risk that if you don't score. That's what happens in football. And so Ten Hag, may well have looked at it like you said. I thought, look, we've got to bring Agati on now. We've got to start to shore this game up. Let's not lose the game. And people say, well, is a point going to work? Will a point be good enough at the end of the season? Won't it be good enough? Nobody knows. Nobody's got a crystal ball. What we didn't do was go and lose that game. We got beat, 4-0 there last year, something like that, 3-0, 4-0. We didn't lose that game this time. I think Ten Hag's got to look at it. But we can't afford to play like that against Tottenham on Sunday. We got 20 on Wednesday. We can't afford to do that on Sunday. So I think ultimately, reluctantly, you take a point in football over 0 points. And you've got to look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is, I think Ten Hag can't play what he wants to play. I've said this before, Jarvis. I'm convinced he wants to play a back three by utilising Matsari and another. I'm absolutely convinced of it. I think I've got
We might see that. We might see that.
Yeah, we all know the total football of Cruyff and was always 3-4-3. So maybe it's in his Dutch traditions, Ajax tradition, he wants to go with a back three.
But where does Bruno fit into? Where does Bruno fit into this back three system? And that's the key element. And I think that'll be a discussion point moving forward.
I know if I might just butt in what you guys are saying there, because I know me and Jarvis, we spoke about this earlier, and I said to go away, a away team will never dominate two halves. It's impossible when you go away. So it's always, if you can dominate the first half and the second, 20 minutes of the second half. I never seen it. Maybe City can do it, but never away. Or home, yes. But on the other hand, Oliver Glasner is not known for playing a pragmatic style of football. He's quite attacking. So he got shell-shocked and he didn't know what to do. So in the second half, he got a little bit, what Jarvis said, he got a little bit control and went 5 in the back, right? And this is what Ten Hag did a mistake, because he should have kept the likes of Xerxes as the creator, because our wingers were actually setting up traps by pinning back the fullbacks. So we had a high press all the time. But that dynamic changed. So I think tactically there, Oliver Glasner did something correct by solidifying that midfield, and he took in this Albino. What's his name? I never liked
Will Hughes. Will Hughes.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think that I was screaming come on, more urgency. But I think at the back of the mind of the players, they were thinking, we've been in this situation before. What if we just come away with 1 point, right? 1 point. So look, to come away from Sellers Park with 1 point, knowing that we got battered that last time with 4-0, that is a different progression, in my opinion, right? So, and of course, it felt a little bit like a loss because we actually dominated the game. We did, right? And we got to talk about Onana's double save. That was the save of the season.
Yeah.
How the hell did he bounce back that fast? Like,
I
puppy.
know they got 3
I'm
goals
thinking, I
in
was
that
like,
as
save
well.
of the season? Question mark. I mean,
As yet, yeah.
so far,
As of yet, so far.
Yeah, but also Nana doesn't make a crazy, ridiculous volume of saves anyway. So, but I was laughing early on when Stu said, "Oh, nobody has a crystal ball," and I was like, "Did he use that as a pun intentionally because we played Crystal Palace?" Funny.
I may have done, Pappy.
So, but yeah, at the end of the day, Selhurst Park, or rather, Crystal Palace. Mick just said we lost 4-0 to them. Manchester City also drew 2-2. Granted, whatever, Etihad, but like they're still a good team, So let's not let the draw cloud our judgment on our team. There is progression. We are actually moving forward. I know we would have wanted to have revenge on them, but right now Bruno Fernandes is an asset, and I'm gonna stand on that hill, and we'll be here after we play Porto or Spurs, and guys, we're going to be singing a different song, and I know he's in a bad patch of form right now, and it will.
Can I just play another devil's advocate here? Like, if you're talking about missed chances, what about Crystal Palace? Eze.
Yeah.
As well.
Eze is shooting boots. He forgot his boots in the locker room.
Yeah, he should have buried it. I mean, Pappy, you should stand on your, on your hill with your supporter Bruno Fernandes. You should do. And my criticism isn't about that with him. My criticism is about where I think he feels he fits into this current 11, or the way that Ten Hag is eventually going to want to play in. Is he one of the players that might see the writing on the wall for himself, or do we consider, Bruno, Agate, and Kobe Mainoo, who I thought, by the way, Mainoo had a really, really good, solid game, but again, he gassed in about 70 minutes. Is that the holy trinity that we're looking for in this middle so-called 3? Or has Ericsson put this fly in the ointment, and Bruno's looking, I've got problems, maybe. Casemiro, has he got problems? The way that Ten Hag's thinking at this point in time until Yoro is fit, well, nobody knows. And the key question will be, when Yoro's fit, is what happens and where it eventually transpires. Yoro's going to be the key to, I think, unlocking whatever Ten Hag wants to do. Because, why would you buy him?
But I would say that so far this partnership of De Ligt and Leach is brilliant, right? I mean, we've been keeping, I think, 3-4 consecutive clean sheets, and the Ugarte is the cherry on the top, like, in terms of the way you want to shield that defense and play high line and break up the play. But when Lenny Euro comes in, it's going to be a different headache, If I look at the table, City, Arsenal 2-2, Brighton, Nottingham Forest 2-2, and we played 0-0. So that's, if you look at that table, it's not that bad, like, in terms of the gap. And I think that I see it more positive that there's 35 odd games to play still, right? So
yeah, exactly.
We have some super chats, man.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about it. Thank you, Peter Alien Tenno, for the super chat. I just gonna.
You can't have. I've got me my glasses.
Where is your glasses? Where's my glasses?
I've got them.
I will play the super chat with you, or the new Jarvis.
Yeah. Go ahead. Play the.
You guys didn't see it, the helicopter thing.
Hey there, people, how you watching? This is Jarvis, your captain flying the chopper all around the internet. And today we have a special show for you guys, so stay tuned and we will be back after the intro. See you in a bit.
Listen, Jarvis. For fuck's sake, that's Samuel Lockhurst, the fly on the wall, like in the dressing room, reporting gossip. That's like a fly.
It's just a joke. But let's read Peter Alien Tenno's super chat. He say Mark N meets the alien Red Devil
right,
on
cool.
Weds. He will be thought the game of the
Yeah,
week.
Mark is gone. Yeah.
So Mark is going to Manchester to meet up with Peter.
Brilliant.
With Peter.
Yeah.
Please,
Yeah,
please
so-
film it. We want to see the vlog.
We will film it. The vlog.
If yeah, and how many drinks you guys end up drinking. We want to see it.
Yeah, we want to know. Yeah, we want to know.
Alien Red Tenno, for fuck's sake, Jarvis Chopper.
Jarvis Chopper.
Jarvis Chopper. Jarvis Chopper.
Oh, fantastic.
Guys, just want to remember, guys, if you want questions, put your questions in now, right?
Yeah,
Because you're coming to the Q&A, right?
Yeah, we are doing the Q&A. But I have a follow-up question, because you mentioned a couple of things too. So I will give this to Poppy, because it's about maintaining, securing the game. Maybe Ten Hag thought it was about time to just secure a draw, 1 point, because we huffed and puffed. But maintaining momentum in a game means knowing when to hold possession and take a breather, because a lot of the time with Man United, it's always go, and eventually we burn out. So in a way, go, United. But if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know that one. Yeah, if you know, you know.
But eventually you burn out, and maybe Ten Hag saw this. Do you think it's plausible? Is it?
I actually view it the opposite, Jarvis. I think Ten Hag was surprised that Glasgow was okay with a draw. I think Ten Hag actually put in Rashford thinking that, the Crystal Palace is going to really try and go for the 1-0, because they're at home. They beat us 4-0 last time, and they actually, like the way their momentum had shifted. By the time we got to the second half, it was a different game. It was all like it was Crystal Palace was creating a lot more chances. So I feel like he thought maybe there's an opportunity to put in Rashford so that we can actually catch them, when they're sort of like trying to go for it. So it's the opposite. It wasn't. I don't feel like Ten Hag was trying to sort of just settle for the draw with his substitutions. He was more like expecting Crystal Palace to go for it, and Glasner surprised him by not necessarily like going all gun ho guns out.
Yeah, but we all know how the momentum of game shifts, and we have had I think Crystal Palace had their first touch in our box in the 42nd minute of the game. So we totally dominated them, and maybe Ten Hag realized that he couldn't go on, and maybe he had saw some signs of. I could see, for example, Kobe Mainu.
Yeah.
Was a little bit more tired. It was a little bit more sloppy on the ball the last 20 minutes. So there were signs, and maybe he understood that we couldn't keep it up. But Tom, are you back? No, Tom is not back. Let's just go to the next point, because when it comes to Bruno, I'll give this to Mick, because it's on fatigue. Because over the last couple of seasons, Bruno have been playing, I would say, about 6,000 minutes, maybe almost 7,000 minutes of football every season. So are we seeing a Bruno burnout based on the recent performances?
I think I will reiterate again what I said earlier. If I back the tape, I think I see more of a disciplined Bruno, playing more responsible than. But yeah, in a way, yes, he hasn't really hit to his peaks as of yet. But I think also the coaching staff and Ten Hag has also recognized that we will not make the same mistake. We will be rotational, right? So, we saw in the cup, he didn't play Bruno. He played Ericsson instead and gave Bruno minutes. So I see that more of a repetitive patterns there, that he's not going to play every single game, even if it's captain. I think there's going to be rotation. And there's signs that we even see that he started even Collier to play experimental as a left back, to say that, listen, there's going to be competition for places and nobody's secure. So burnout. He played a lot of games, including the World Cup and the Euros and everything else. So definitely.
Yeah, not just for last season, but for 3-4 seasons in a row. Never injured.
But
Always.
he's a Duracell bunny, man. This is who he is. Like, he's.
Yeah, but he's not a superhuman.
Yeah, but
Eventually, he
batteries will
burn
run out. So yeah, no, he's. I think
You can see now today Rodri's injury. He's out for the rest of the season apparently, and he had to come. He's been playing almost every game for.
But don't you think it's more that Bruno always wants to play, no matter what? He just wants to play.
Yeah,
so somebody's just got to have.
But I think that applies for every player.
Yeah.
When you play football, you always want to play. Don't you think so, Stu?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I've played injured loads of times because you do. It's exactly what you do. You put your boots on, you get on with it, and Bruno's one of them. I think for Bruno at the moment, I think he is going to reach that natural crossroads of where he's got to start to take care of himself more. He's got to start to pick and choose the games that you do play. And for example, I think I brought this up last season, Jarvis, when we had that week, that 12 days where we were playing Luton, I think in the second leg of the quarter-final where we were already 3-1 up. Then we had someone like, I don't know, Tranmere in the cup or whatever. We should have sent the whole first team away on holiday. And you have this opportunity to do that throughout the season, and unfortunately Ten Hag doesn't do that. Whether that's a Dutch thing or not, I don't know. But when you look at other managers, they send their players off. There'll be a player missing for a week because he's off in Bali or wherever, or he's in Dubai and he's doing stuff. And I think you've just got to manage your squad better. And if you've got a player who's constantly saying, "Gaffer, I want to play, then the manager's got to turn around and say, "No, not this week, pal. You're benched. I'm going to bring in Casemiro. I'm going to bring in Agartha. I'm going to bring in Mount, or I'm going to bring in Rashford to play a turn or whatever." It doesn't really matter, and that's how you do it. For me, I think Leach is playing quite well. But he's not nowhere near the player that he's capable of being at the moment. De Ligt is by far our best centre half at this point in time. De Ligt really should have scored 2 goals in 2 games. Off corners, off set pieces, because he's very dangerous up there. Leach, for me, he's lost his way a little bit. Still a great defender, but he's lost his way. Now, a lot of people completely disagree with that. You can't say that about Leach, blah, 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 blah. But just watch what he does in games. Watch where he has been in games to where he is today in games. And you will see a difference. And you can argue the toss, people can, as much as they like, but he is not at that level that he's played. Now, De Ligt at the moment is our best defender. There's no two ways about it. Will Agartha become our best defensive midfielder? We don't know the answer to that yet. We've seen 2 little cameo appearances. We don't know the answer to that. Mazzari's come in and he's been our best fullback by far out the 2. And you've got to look at these little things. And, football is made up of tiny little intricacies, tiny little passages of play, tiny little ways that players do things. And at the moment, we've got a couple of players that just aren't reaching the level we want to be. And Bruno's there, unfortunately. And unfortunately, at this point in time, so is Martinez. You just people just look before you go in on me. Just look. And just look at what he does with his play. And look, I play centre off, and it's you can have a bad game. It is what it is, you just do. But he's not operating at his optimum right now. He just isn't. And De Ligt, which is he's playing a much better game at this point in time than we thought he would. I thought he would take a couple of games to get into it. So it'll be very interesting to see how that transpires, how the dynamic works, between De Ligt and Martinez moving forward. So, Bruno's going through the same thing. Martinez goes through the same thing. Casemiro's had issues. People said his legs have gone. Yeah, maybe they have. Maybe they haven't. Rashford, maybe he'll come good. Maybe he won't this season. It's all ifs, buts and maybes at the minute, I'm afraid.
Yeah, good points. I was waiting for Tom to get back so we could go on to the next subject, because I want to talk a little bit about Old Trafford. We saw some new plans on the redevelopment of Old Trafford and the area around Old Trafford. There was a tweet out today. I will try to share it for you guys to see if you haven't seen it already. Let's see, where is it? Is it this one? Yes, I believe it is. At your stage. So it says Manchester United. Manchester United's regeneration of Trafford Park with a new stadium at its heart could be worth £7.3 billion per year to the UK economy. The plans will deliver a huge growth, including 92,000 new jobs and 17,000 new homes and 1.8 million visitors to the area per year. So they have big plans. There's some models out with pictures. You see this one about the areas around Old Trafford, and you obviously see the stadium, a dome, or what do you want to call it. And there's some other pictures. I don't know if it's a donut or whatever it is.
Trevor says it looks like a strawberry donut.
I'm glad he's rinsing somebody else, because he's been at me since he's been in the comments. Everyone else is coming in. And by the way, I do have a pink pair of Speedos, guys, but I'm not wearing the Speedos at this point in time. But I might give you, maybe around Christmas time, I get the Speedos out for you guys. I don't know. Been absolutely rinsed in the comments. I'm not feeling well either, lads. You're having a go at me and I'm ill. It's not fair. Leave me alone. I would like to know, Jarvis, how the hell they've calculated it's going to be worth 7 billion or 7.3 billion to the economy. I'd love to know how they've calculated that one.
Yeah, but since you're speaking, what's your take? Do you think it will be a good thing to redevelop the whole area, build new apartments? Talking about 17,000.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, you had to redevelop. You had to rebuild Old Trafford completely from the ground up. I said this right at the beginning. I was asked a couple of years ago what it would do, and you just know, if when you go to Old Trafford, it's just dilapidated. It was never going to be a regeneration program of just renovating Old Trafford. It was just never going to happen. You've got to rebuild somewhere else. So if you're going to build a project, then you want to build an infrastructure around it, and you want to attract as many people as you can to to the area. So Salford by nature and Manchester by nature is not particularly rich. Where Old Trafford is not particularly rich in terms of prosperity, but people down there are absolutely brilliant, and everybody loves the club. And I think from a point of view, if Man United could bring some kind of hope, to youngsters that are growing up, and they can create 92,000 jobs. Yeah, brilliant. It's how it should be. It's what it's all about. It's all about taking. You got to give in this world, and
that's kind of like natural progression. Like if you kind of look what they want to do, okay, we're assembling a new Manchester United. We are assembling a new leadership team, and we have assessed the land banks and everything. So in a corporate world, when you look at private equity, you always look at land assets, right? And you own the land asset, and how can you then maximize the profits and generate revenues? Well, basically you own the land and you let other people build on the land, and this is how you can maximize your assets, right, in return on investment. Yeah. So of course this is positive because this creates a lot of jobs. This creates tourism for sure. And even there was a saying they're going to take memorabilia from Old Trafford and put into a new stadium because, hey, we need a new stadium. We need the latest and the greatest. And the proof was there when the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, like that was like, that was such a big difference. You know what I mean? So I'm not opposed to it. I think if it creates jobs, Old Trafford has gone way beyond to repair, because based on the land that it stands, it's not stable, and plus also the canal, the railroad line that goes to the media city. So it's just a matter of they appointed the leading consultancy design firm to do this, and man, that's exciting. Of course, nostalgia, Old Trafford is Old Trafford, and the brick wall that Mickey Phelan used to lean on and stuff like that, and all the. But it's a new dawn. It's a new United. We have to look. I mean, yes, they probably looked at could we spend 2 billion on doing Old Trafford, and the answer was no, they couldn't. So either descale it and use it for the women's team and the under 20s and 18s, and have rock concerts potentially with a leaking roof.
It says 100,000 seaters, 2 billion stadium. Designed by Sir Norman Foster. I don't know who that guy is. Maybe Stu knows him, but
the guy who built Wembley.
Oh, Tom is back.
Oh, big up, Tom.
Yeah.
So maybe Tom, you will have your say on the new area development and the stadium. We have talked a little bit about it. I've showed some pictures and read some tweets. So what's your take? Do you think it's possible that we can get a new stadium? What are we talking about? Timeline? How will we finance the new stadium? Will there be politicians deciding it, or will Jim Ratcliffe may do it by himself?
I think the culminations of all of this is Jim Ratcliffe, Ineos, and they want government support around the planning of the stadium because it'll bring more revenue to the economy. But for what they're going to bring to the economy, they want back in terms of financing around the local area, not the stadium. So the statistics that they've given for the analysis of it, that it will bring £7.3 billion to the UK economy, that's key. Because the amount of money that comes and generates through the economy through London, you could have that equated times by 2 in the north of England. So it's almost like you have a new capital city in the north, as well as what you already get revenue for in the south. The only difference is Manchester United want help with the infrastructure around the stadium. Building the stadium itself isn't going to be a problem. Ineos, they build chemical power plants all over the world. They're building one in, I think it's either in Antwerp or Brussels. I can't remember. They're building it somewhere in Belgium anyway, which is like a £3 billion project that they've already architected for. The same point that you could argue with Ineos is that they've made these strategic assessments around the stadium already to say it's just not fit for purpose. So Jim Ratcliffe's not giving any secrets away in saying that he would be open to a new build, and he's supposedly this, law-abiding Manchester United fan. At the end of the day, look, there's going to be a couple of people that are going to say we should stick at Old Trafford because of the history and the legacy of it. I've always been under the impression, I was probably one of the first that gave the blueprint of why don't we build next door, keep what we already have and just downsize it, and use it as a legacy and historical landmark, and just modernise around it, and just keep Old Trafford as a historical landmark. People will still come to see the Old Trafford, and then you could go over to the new Old Trafford next door. It's never been done before, so it's something that's different. But you could always still have the history. You would almost have the history over the road and the future on the other side of the road, and that's how it would be. But in terms of the plans of it, if they can't develop Old Trafford to refurbish it now, I think it's going to be an infrastructural nightmare to downsize it, as well as keeping health and safety regulations so United can play there. That's the issue. The problem is, building the stadium next door is not going to be the issue. The issue was going to be, what do they do with the existing land right now? Because they still need somewhere to play, so they're probably still going to play at Old Trafford for now, while the new one's built over maybe 4 or 5 years. And the only thing that I'm going to say in terms of downsizing it, if you can't refurbish it in the first place, taking it all apart is just as hard, if not harder, than actually building it up, because you're taking away the old bricks, just like you would be if you were refurbishing it, and you're putting new bricks onto it. It's just going to be an infrastructural nightmare, and it's going to cost hell on earth of money. And Mick's already gone into the logistics of it with the railway track around the Munich tunnel. There's also the piping that's underneath Old Trafford as well that you're going to have to do.
Yeah, the piping, yes.
If you want to build,
I was going to ask you about that. You know the fracking rights. Is that under Carrington or is that under Old Trafford?
No, it's under Old Trafford. It's under
Old Trafford.
They own them, don't they?
PDL 159 or something. What's it called?
Is it shale gas? Is it?
I can't remember who owns the rights for it, but there's the
they own the rights.
Pipings. The pipings that's under it anyway. Yeah. Trafford Council, they had a bit of a logistics meeting about it a couple of years ago where Man United were putting these plans in place that they wanted to do something with Old Trafford. But one of the logistical challenges was the railway track, like Mick also mentioned, but also the gas pipings under Old Trafford, because if you burst one of those pipes, you're going to have a chemical nightmare. Yeah. And at the same point, it's going to be uninhabitable to build next door. So in terms of downsizing Old Trafford, it's just as hard to downsize it as if you were going to rebuild it up. So the same point, if you're not, if you build next door, you're not moving away from Old Trafford. You're still going to walk down St Matt Busby Way. There's still going to be that bit of legacy there. The players are going to be familiar with the area when they're coming on the team buses. They're just going into a new stadium instead of the old one. I always want to keep Old Trafford as a bit of a landmark. Downsize it if you can to 20,000. Use it for the women's team. Listen, I've been over this argument before so many times. It's a disgrace our women's team don't play in Manchester. They play in Leigh Sports Village. It's closer to Liverpool than it is Manchester. That's a disgrace for the biggest football club in the world, that their own women's team don't play in their own city. It's a disgrace. The same point, in terms of what you just said, Jarvis, just another part of the question, where's the money going to come from? I think Jim Ratcliffe is going to put in some of his own money. I think he'll take some money through Ineos's accounts as well. And Ineos will do a lot of the infrastructure work in terms of building it up from the ground next door. And then from what the remit of the plan is, they want to have the local council on board, which are going to help. They're going to basically give them the plans, and the council's going to build it for them and give them the rights to build on it. So
it's called a master plan.
Yeah, a master plan. Everything's going to fit. The only reason why that you're getting, figureheads like you're getting Norman Foster and you're getting Sir Lord Coe and Gary Neville, who's almost like a local ambassador, is if you get all these public figures on board and they start backing these proposals, suddenly you're going to have a lot more support. And all of this support is suddenly going to filter then to Manchester United fans to say, this is the way that we need to go. Yeah, go on, Mick, go on. I know you want to say something.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I got to add some point what you're saying there. Of course, this is something that I've been talking about for quite a while, together with Bilal Yogi, and this is Ineos' plan. I mean, this is the master plan. We call master plan development, of course, including the council and everything, because it's beneficial for the greater Manchester area as well, in terms of generating jobs, tourism destination, creating the Wembley of the North. But at the same time, sure, they're going to chip in a little bit. It's called government investment, VIP investment, right? In terms of the land bank asset. But what they are planning to do is what I predicted is they're going to sell OG Nice and they're going to put in more money into Manchester, Manchester United, which is something that I see as a hostile takeover, which is something called debt to equity. So eventually they're going to pump in the money, solve the debt, and in return get more Class B shares and phase the Glazers out. That's another way. But putting in money into the infrastructure, that means that they can actually acquire more Class B shares as well, because Glazers is not going to invest.
Building a stadium as well, it doesn't arbitrate your PSR rules as well, because it goes off as you're doing infrastructure projects. It doesn't have to follow into your accounts. So it doesn't affect the football side of the club. It only affects the financial side. So when people make these arguments to say that United are going to take on debt, we don't actually know where the debt's going to come from, and this is where I don't think that United are going to be straddled with £3 billion of this financing, because if Jim Ratcliffe's this Manchester United fan, he already put £300 million in, and they built a new training ground already. You can say the same thing in terms of they've sort of repaired certain areas of the ground, so it's not as bad as it was last season. They've used some of the money to shore it up for now, so they don't have a health and safety nightmare. The only thing that you can say with Ratcliffe is he has got a plan. The Glazers, they hired Populous, who built the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and said, give us some options. Ratcliffe's come into this and he said, I've got some plans, I've got contacts, I can get the council on side. He's on side with the local mayor in Andy Burnham. He's got local figures like Gary Neville involved, who have property land in and around Manchester United with hotel football, who are backing his project. Lord Cow, Norman Foster, for people who don't know anyway, he actually helped build Wembley Stadium. So in terms of globalising infrastructure, all of the property development that's around Wembley and the actual Wembley Stadium itself, Norman Foster and partners, they help construct the projects for. So they've got some proper people involved in terms of infrastructure. The bigger point, guys, that I'm saying to all of this is the long-term sustainability of this project benefits everybody. It benefits the economy, it benefits fans, but more importantly, it benefits our football club, because Manchester United will have the biggest football stadium in the UK. Bigger than Wembley. They will host what I went to go and see at the weekend in terms of big boxing events. Those multi-million-pound offers that come in from Saudi Arabia to bring events all over the world, they'll go to Old Trafford instead of going to Wembley, because it's something different. It's vibrant. It's new. But the symbolic side of it is, so long as the fans don't take too critically to the project, of that it's going to look completely different to what Old Trafford does, is going to save the plan. If fans don't take to this new idea of modernising, that's where you're going to suddenly have a problem.
Can I continue on your path and ask you something? Because all of a sudden this takeover makes sense on the 25% or 27.5%, because if we just back the tape, he went from initially 51% to lower down his bid. So he's not stupid. And now we can see the path and master plan developing, right? So he said, I'm not going to go in now. Okay, so if I do this on 25 and I slowly raise the equity, slowly convert things to Class B shares, this is how I'm going to get control of Manchester United. And plus all these single appointments are not Glazer appointments. Omar Barada, Dan Ashwood, the whole footballing operations. Yeah. So could this be his master plan, Tom, that, instead of him going in and buying all these Class B and Class A shares for 51, he thought, I'm going in lowballing, and then eventually within 18 months, I'm going to fizz it out.
You could look at it from that perspective, but also, if you're the Glazer family, you don't even mention the Glazer family anymore. You don't. No. And the funny thing is, around this whole regeneration project, the Glazer family's name has not been mentioned once. They are having no say on it. They are having no influence on it. They don't care. The difference is, if you put figures in front of them like you're going to have 100,000 seats, they don't care about how many jobs it creates. You're going to bring £7.2 billion to the UK economy, but a large proportion of that is going to go to Manchester United's finances because it's owned by the club as a stadium and as a asset. The Glazers,
but how is the Glazers going to get money then? How is Glazers going to benefit in the long run on this one then?
Because they own the whole football club, but they're getting somebody else to flip the bill for them, and he's putting his neck on the line. The difference is the Glazers don't have this big project planning or these ideas. They're not building. They're not. They're not in. How can I say? They're economics guys. They're not they don't visualize infrastructure. Infrastructure. Ratcliffe has done it his whole life through Ineos. They've built the big projects and big plants all over the world with plans. The Glazer family, they probably couldn't build a fucking house out of Lego. Never mind actually build a big project infrastructure-wise. They don't have the logistics. They don't know people who to do it. They had to go to some recognised company because they built Spurs' stadium, for help to say, give us some ideas. And we still haven't really listened to those ideas that they took on board then. The difference is, if you own the large part of this football club and you've got somebody who comes in with a minority stake of the club and says, I've got a plan, I'm going to build this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to get everybody on side, are you really going to be in any hurry to go anywhere? Nah. Even if they offered him the money, even if Ratcliffe offered them the sort of money that they wanted a couple of months ago when he first bought in, they ain't going anywhere, guys. They ain't going anywhere, because then if God forbid if Ratcliffe dies, they inherit that asset and they've paid nothing towards it. And suddenly, God forbid, we're back to square one. And there's nothing that anybody can really say to go against it, because Ratcliffe doesn't own this club. He doesn't. And I think people sometimes forget that because we don't mention the Glazer family's name anymore. They would inherit this asset. So as much as people want to say that Ratcliffe's doing this master plan, absolutely, yeah. It looks all good and rosy. But later down the line, it can also bite you in the arse if it gets to a point where suddenly he's no longer here. The Glazer family still own the portion of this football club.
So they own the land bank asset, basically.
Well, they own the football club already. So Ratcliffe, the best way I can say it right now, he's a fan, but he's also the financier of this football club, because everything that the finances that you see right now is from Ratcliffe. When that training ground is finished building, it'll be because of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, not the Glazer family. When this new stadium is built, it'll be because of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, not of the Glazer family. The difference is he's a lot older than these guys who he's bought in with. So the difference is, if you look at the probabilities of it, guys, he's probably not going to live as long as Avram, Joel, and all of the rest of the Glazer family who own more shares of this club than he does. And at the same point, when you have a guy who rolls in here and says, I'm going to pay for everything and I'm going to make Man United great again, why would you all of a sudden turn that guy away if he's going to give you so much money to build all of these projects? And you don't have to pay a penny of it, but later down the line, you could inherit all of it. You're not stupid at the end of the day. But overall, the finances of the club are going to take a hit short term. But in the long term, guys, it's going to bring a lot more options and it's going to bring a lot more eyes towards Manchester United, because suddenly they have one of the biggest stadiums in the world. Yeah. But I think the even bigger point of that people can stop getting on this project's arse about is taxpayers' money isn't going to fund this stadium. And finally, you actually have it in black and white where it says that they're not going to be paying for it. So all these rival fans that are saying, "Oh, we're going to inherit Manchester United, we're going to help Manchester United," you don't help Manchester United. Man United don't need handouts. They've got smart people who actually know what they're doing for a change. That's the difference. And what I said before, it's facts. The Glazers can't build a fucking house out of Lego. Ineos, they know how to build one. They've done a lot of big projects before. This will be the biggest one, but they've got the track record to back it up. And he hasn't failed on any of those projects before, Ratcliffe.
No, I agree with Wicky's saying here. Look, it looks positive on how it's going to look for the community in the Greater Manchester and the club and the destination itself. Like, this is 100,000 seater stadium. 100,000 seater stadium. But the question is, guys, what will be the ticket prices now? Like, will they increase the season ticket holders? Will they increase it to 600 for each game, or do you reckon they're going to lower it down because they have more volumes?
It's a good question. Who knows? But what happened on the new Spurs Stadium or West Ham? Or I think the ticket prices goes up.
And they have been going up even before even plans of this. Like, I think that's just the effect of just how like how it goes. So I wanted to say, like, somebody in the chat mentioned this, that like, you can take a building has significance, has some sort of like historical like weight, but you can never take away the memories and the heritage of Manchester United. So I understand the traditionalist perspective of somebody that says, oh yeah, we don't want to change this, but change is a fact of life. And Manchester United being like the global juggernaut that it is, it's kind of surprising that we don't have the biggest stadium. So for me, it makes sense. It's actually just a matter of Manchester United sort of, just keeping up to pace with the rest of like the world. The whole world is changing, and if we let like a team like Spurs have a better stadium than us, what does that say about our ambitions? What does that say about what where we want to go forward? My concern, my the things that I'm worried about for me is always the women's team and the team. Like if we're building a stadium and building facilities for the youth to develop better youth, I think in the long run we're actually going to be helping our club, and it's only going to benefit Manchester United as we go down the years. So it may just be a big little financial dent right now to be able to just make that huge investment, but eventually we will benefit from it. And having a capacity of 100,000 is something that actually, when you look at what the revenue that you'll earn from that, I think eventually we'll make that money back and to actually enjoy the value of our club financially. So yeah.
But you want to come there. People travel all over the world, across the country. You want to come there for an experience. If you're paying that kind of money, you want to come for the experience, right? You don't want to sit there and fucking being pissed on like in the rain and the leaking roof and shitty food and smelly, stinky toilets. This is the step towards the right direction, and I'm all for it. If you're going to create jobs and opportunities, it's good for them. I understand the master plan and why the Greater Council get involved, and this is a step forward, like a new dawn for the club, and new dawn for a new Manchester United.
Yeah. I think that's the final word of the new Old Trafford debate. I want to go further.
What is your perspective, Jarvis? You didn't say
You've been saying.
I'm conscious on time, so we just gotta move on the show to the next subject. And as always, we do the devil's advocate. Well, and I didn't know we were going to be 4 other guys on the panel, so one of you have to sit this one out. Tom okay. Mick can sit this out. So Tom,
didn't I win the last one? We can give.
You won the last one. So, tonight's question is fairly simple, and you just have to argue for one of the 3 candidates. And the question is: if you could choose one player who played at Man United who currently plays in the Premier League, who would it be? And these are the candidates: Danny Welbeck, Henderson, or Will Hughes. I will give Danny Welbeck to Mr. Woolley.
What was the question?
If you could bring back one of these 3 players to Man United, who would it be and why?
Do I have to answer this one?
Yes.
Right.
Oh my God.
It's the devil's advocate. You have to argue for Danny Welbeck.
You got the easiest one.
Ex-Man United player to bring back to Man United.
Right. I let me tell you something about Danny Welbeck. I do like his overall ability. He's got a massive ability, a real massive ability, but he's too injury prone. And that's the problem with Anthony Martial and players that we've had in the past. They're all too injury prone. So we look at the way that Danny Welbeck is playing now, and when he stays fit, if he'd stayed and developed at Manchester United, we might have seen somebody who could have led the line for England for 10 years when you look at his overall ability. But he's one of those who just couldn't, he couldn't fulfill it because he was always crocked, whether that was in his head or whether it was, was just somebody who just couldn't stay fit. it always amazed me with the likes of Danny Welbeck, and it's kind of really all I've got to say about him because I think with I'm glad I didn't get Will Hughes. Let's put it that way. The albino, as everyone calls him, but yes, that's a tough one. That is, unfortunately, a tough one.
Okay, 2 minutes. That was 2. So who will do Will Hughes? Or who would do? Who will take Dean Henderson? Okay, I give Dean Henderson to Tom because he used to be a goalkeeper.
Wow, it was a long time ago. When does my time start?
It starts now. 2 minutes.
Okay, as you can see, he was a Manchester United player once upon a time. He was a backup to David De Gea. He has gone somewhere else to spread his wings. And look at what we saw at the weekend. It was brilliant. Brilliant goalkeeper, shot stopper. We've got brilliant attackers at this football club. We've got brilliant players. We've got Bruno, we've got Xerxes, we've got Ahmad, we've got Rashford. Couldn't put the ball past him. Brilliant shot stopper. Great in terms of character. I don't maybe think he had a fair shout at Manchester United. No fault of his own with having David De Gea in front of him. If we brought him back, I mean, look, we don't use Bayende that much. Sit him on the bench, maybe. Listen, people criticise Onana. Would you take Dean Henderson back now? Go back to basics. Play 5-yard passes away. He doesn't have to play out from the back. Let the defenders do it for him. We've got to see. But in terms of what he gave for a Manchester United shirt, he's been through the academy. He knows this club inside out. He's, born and bred inside this football club. So, let's bring him back. I think he'll do
10
good.
seconds.
He's one try. Actually, no, he's not one fuck all here, has he?
No, fuck all.
Okay, that makes time. And last but not least, Poppy, you can have your say on Will Hughes. I repeat the question. Out of these few players, who would you bring back?
I actually didn't even know that he used to play for Man United. So we'll just do that. We'll just say, I'll talk about what I know about him. As you can see in that picture, he is somebody who was responsible to Casemiro getting a red card. What does that tell you about his character? He is combative. He's somebody who works tirelessly. He's a prick in that you'd want playing for your team because he just knows how to annoy players. So Will Hughes, if Vieira was English, he would be Will Hughes. Will Hughes brings energy, he brings passion, brings look at him. He can get in your head, and you want this kind of midfielder, a warrior for you. So I'm just gonna say, Will Hughes should come back to Manchester United. I didn't know he was at Man United. I thought he was at Watford before, but that's all.
Poppy, can I add a little bit of roast to that?
Go ahead.
Okay, we experienced 15 years of darkness. We need a little bit of a light.
I think, Pappy, you failed miserably there, Pat.
You did.
I mean, crikey, my attempt at Danny Welbeck was abysmal. Jesus, I mean, crikey, Pappy. I think Jarvis has stitched us all up really on that one.
You set me up, Jarvis. When did Will Hughes?
Sorry.
When did he play for Man United?
I gave him Wikipedia.
He played with Josh King and the rest of them, Mats Möller-Dali, and I don't know that generation. I think he played with Lingard and
He did. He was back. Yeah, back
at the time.
Man,
but he had a decent career in Premier League. He's always been playing for Watford, Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Didn't he play for Fulham one time at the time?
I don't think he did.
I don't think he played for Fulham.
I know he's played for I think he's played for Watford and he's played for Palace now. I don't recall.
Yeah,
I think even he was the captain of the under-21s at one time. So he was a decent player. And you see in his career, he did well.
He's an all right player. He's had a Premier League career.
I've chosen Will Keane.
He doesn't have any. Does he have any England caps or no? Like, he's just
Well,
something.
listen, I was just Wikipedia and I couldn't find anything about him on Man United, so I just.
Oh, Mick, I was set up.
Yeah.
VAR.
Yes, you were.
Time out.
I win.
Move on,
Let's ask the
Jarvis.
chat.
Move on.
Who made the best case? Was it Stu Wally with Welbeck, Tom Journalist one with Dean Henderson, or Poppy Football Power Hour with Will Hughes?
Oh,
Have
I
you
clearly
voted in
won.
right now?
I clearly won. There's no vote required. You know,
You had the easiest one, bro.
I won last week as well, and Pappy claimed he won. I won last week.
No, I was set up to fail. Will Hughes never played for Man United, Jarvis. Mick just did a VAR.
Yeah, no,
check.
I did. Yeah, I did a VAR check. You're 100%.
Go
correct.
VAR.
Look, Wikipedia. I
Trevor
don't
gives
see
it
anything.
to Poppy.
Watford, Crystal Palace, Derby County, Miklova Jubilee. Nothing about Man United.
I rest my case. Thank you, Jarvis.
So I did expect you to use Ashley Young there, in this question, right?
Oh, I definitely would have won that one.
I still believe he's still playing, but okay.
Well, I'm conscious about time. Let's just move on. Let's forget about Will Hughes.
Poppy, you got done.
We have the next segment. I don't know, Stu, are you able to do the Q&A session or?
It's quite late over here. But I will. I won't host. Let Mick host. Let Mick host the Q&A.
Me?
Mick,
Okay.
are you okay with hosting the Q&A, asking the question, and then?
Wow,
and
what an honor. Okay.
All
right,
we in the driving seat. Let me just.
And it is an honor, isn't it? It's an honor.
Wow, this is a very, very, very. Listen, first and foremost, we have something to say. Happy birthday, Michael, guys!
All you horses.
Hey,
it's a big day.
Mitch, happy birthday! Yes.
Oh, Mitchell.
Yeah.
Mitchell who?
And I don't know, Poppy. You want NBA?
I do watch NBA. NBA. It's funny.
Mick, have you started the Q&A?
Yes. You can start.
Hold your horses.
I'm just
we have an intro for the Q&A. We have to play the jingle. Okay, let's start. Go. Are you guys ready?
Yes, we are.
Let's start the Q&A.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
All right, then. This is the moment of truth. This is a Q&A section. I've been given the keys to the kingdom. Of course. Can you handle the truth? I want the truth. Well, we have something from NC Smith coming with a question, and I will give this to Stu. Why can't these guys break down teams? I mean, are we talking about Google Meet or Teams or in general, or is it Teams?
It's actually quite straightforward. Actually, a lot of people, a lot of coaches will tell you breaking down a 5-4-1 or whichever way they want to do it's almost impossible. It isn't. You've got to literally drag players out of their comfort zone and create space, and the way you do that is get at them, and you've got to almost risk taking one or two players on, and I don't advocate that normally. A lot of fans love dribbling. I don't. I like passing, intricate passing, but when you go for a low block, you've got to get round two players. You've got to make somebody else come across to you, because when that person comes across to you, that's where the hole is. That's where the gap is, and that's where you exploit it. We don't move the ball quick enough. We don't move it deep enough at times. We don't move it methodically at times. We don't seem to, for whatever reason, understand how to do it. So, look. A lot of my mates were saying when I was talking to them, well, look, Martinez and De Ligt were trying to draw Palace out, but the top teams won't get drawn out. They won't come to you. So you've got to make the play. And the only way you make the play is by getting around 2 or 3 players, as I said, and that will give you the gap and create the gap.
Okay.
That's how you do it.
I hope that answers your question, Nancy Smith. We have Elite Baller with another question coming in. I think I'm going to give this for Jarvis. Jarvis, you ready? Question for you, Jarvis. For Bruno Apologist, how many more times does your captain have to play shite and not inspire his team before you will call him out?
Is that what you can call a leading question?
That is.
Can you handle the truth? I want the truth.
Yeah.
Jarvis?
Well, I'm not Bruno's biggest fan, I have to say, but I have nothing against Bruno per se because, he's a great player. But for me, the question is do he suit Ten Hag's system? And I don't think so. How I analyze football and I see how Ten Hag wants to play and his vision, he didn't have a player like Bruno in his old Ajax teams, both of them. He had more of a fluent team, guys who were more, I would say, secure in possession. They didn't waste the ball in the same way. And they dominated team in a different way. And I think Ten Hag needs to accommodate Bruno a lot and figure out how to get the best out of him, because he didn't buy Bruno. Bruno was in a way forced upon him with the big contract, the best player of the team, both him and Rashford in a way. So I think it's not about hating on Bruno. It's about seeing what's best for the team. And for me personally, I would like us to find another number 10 in the future, and I don't think Bruno is the right guy going forward. But for now,
do you think we have a succession plan for Bruno in the academy?
Well, we have Dan Gore maybe coming in as a 10. I don't know.
Okay.
But I think that's a vital role, and I see us signing. What's that guy who plays for Leipzig now? We've been linked to him.
Jarvis Simmons.
I think maybe he will be the one in the future. But for now, I think this season, I see no way that we will bench Bruno. And but we have options. We can play Xerxes in the 10 and Eriksson and Mason Mount. So there is some competition for the place, and he will get some rest, hopefully.
Elite Bowler, I hope that answers your question, because we're going to spin on from NC Smith, and this is a question to the Honourable Mr. Tipton Town Stewie. Where would you play Bruno?
So Jarvis was hugely eloquent in his assessment of Mr. Fernandes there, and he's absolutely right. Bruno's an 8. He's never a 10 for me. He's never been a 10. If you look at the history of where he's played, he's always played from an 8. I think, Tommy, you've brought it up on many occasions on his best position, and that is an 8. And I think the problem with managers at the moment is they've not known where to play him. They've not understood his game. And the players that play with him don't necessarily understand his game. I think what would frustrate me if I was playing with him, and what frustrates me when I watch him, he has the ability to be this maverick on the pitch, pick out the 40-yard pass to perfection, but he does it on occasions. So for me, NC, you've got to play him as an 8. I think you'd see a much better, more productive player. But then everyone's going to ask me, if you put him in an 8, what happens to Kobe? So,
all right. I have a follow-up question for you, a bonus question. This comes from me, the gaffer. Since you're down in Budapest, in Hungary, eating all that yummy goulash and all that stuff.
Yes.
Who do you think was the best player coming up from Hungary?
Hungarian player. Wow.
Puskás.
What a question. What a question.
You have Turkish.
I'd have to think about that one, because
about that one.
Back in the 90s, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, Hungary were fairly decent, weren't they, alongside Bulgaria at the time?
Yeah, a couple of good players.
They did. And I'm just trying to think, and I can think of a player, and I don't know if he's Bulgarian. He probably is. I'll have to check. I was thinking of I'll have to check.
Okay. Well,
I've thought about that. It's a good question, Gaffer. And
yeah. Well, you actually currently have Milos Kerkez, by the way. We are interested in him as a left back service. So yeah.
Yes.
Rashmano coming in with another question, and who should I give this to? Tom, are you willing to take this question? Can we discuss how our defense has improved hugely?
I think because you've got a balanced duo of centre halves who have played a couple of games together now, and you're actually seeing the fruition of it. Martinez, he looks comfortable because he's familiarised with a player who understands his game and vice versa. Look, Varane wasn't perfect, but he was an elite defender once upon a time. So he understood the defensive attributes of playing next to a player like Martinez because he'd done it for like 10 years at Madrid with Ramos. So he understood this sort of character and where he's best placed in the team and where he can almost fill the gaps of what Martinez leaves. Dillit and him, I think, complement each other quite well. I want to, especially from defensively as well, guys, even considering we've not started the season with a designated left back, I don't think it's killed us as much as I thought it would. Because I don't think Delow's been too bad there, to be completely honest with you. It's not his natural side. You know, when players are cutting in on the left foot and stuff, he's not naturally suited to that. But he's handling it quite well, all things considered. And look, Mazraoui, for what we've paid for
Mazraoui.
Honestly, I think we've pulled Bayern's pants down completely.
Yeah.
The only thing that Bayern was hesitant about him was because he has a terrible injury record over there. But touch wood, and God forbid, he doesn't have any injuries at Manchester United because I think we've got a quality player in that position. What him and Ahmad are doing on that side, I think, is quite good as well.
Yeah.
But,
I think we pulled Bayern's pants completely with those two, De Ligt and Mazraoui.
Well, you think about it, mate.
Million.
18 months ago, we'd have paid that stupid money for Bramthwaite and we'd have got one player. You've got two players for the price of one, realistically. And both of them have bigger experiences than what Bramthwaite has. But for me, compatibility is key, especially with defences. And what we have at the back is a back four. It is quite balanced. But when Shaw gets back to fitness, I think it's going to play on Ten Hag's mind. What do I do with Delow? Because do you start him at right back over Mazraoui when he's playing as good as he has been? What do you do? It gives him a headache, but it's a good headache to have. But no, I think it's improved quite massively, to be completely honest with you. The Liverpool game, people who highlight that as a terrible game, absolutely, but was the defence really at fault for that? Mistakes were made in midfield in front, so that's what I would say.
Yeah. Hope that's answer your question, Rashmano. Listen, Stu, I know you're in bed, and this is a little bit of rated red tape question for you. Are you ready, Stewie? Because this is your pal, Trevor Wade.
I love
you
Trevor.
guys. Yeah, you got a bromance, but he's asking you a very important question. Stu, which red light district hotel is Stu tuning in from this week?
I'm staying at, and he's right, because to be fair to Trev, I took him to Amsterdam a couple of weeks ago, and I showed him the delights of the red light district. And to be honest, I tried to get him in one of the windows, but for whatever reason, they wouldn't allow him in. I don't know why, but he's a really good-looking character, Trev. But no, Trev, I'm coming from Budapest. I'm coming from a hotel called the Pullman. And if you're wondering why my light's not brilliant, it's because I can't work the fucking light switches. They're all fucking electronic. They're all
lighting.
Okay, Pullman. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, the Pullman. But I will tell you the weather is 26 degrees when I landed, so it's absolutely beautiful. So
fantastic, Trevor. I hope that answers your fantastic question. Now we have somebody there in the middle, right there, Mr. Go Man United has been asked the question. Jarvis.
Mick, before you move on, I just want to add something when it comes to the greatest Hungarian footballer.
Yes.
There is one guy we all remember, but we don't remember his name, but we remember
the Crystal Palace goalkeeper.
The Joggers.
Yeah, the Crystal Palace goalkeeper.
His name is Gabor Kirali.
Corrali,
He wears the
yes.
sweatpants.
The
Yeah.
There's some
sweatpants.
legendary pictures of this guy on the internet. You just gotta go
Oh
out.
yes,
Yeah.
the splits.
Corali, that's him.
Sweatpants.
Yeah, that's him.
I would say he's a Hungarian legend. He deserves the prize.
All right. Oh, okay. All eyes on Poppy now. Poppy, are you ready?
Let's
You've
go.
been sitting quiet. Okay. Scott at the wheel says, question, Poppy, do you think then that when Ugarte is fully integrated into this team and playing more game time, he can dictate the game like an NFL quarterback and ping the passes like Carrick or Scholes could?
The last two names you mentioned, Scotty, are the ones that make me reluctant to say yes. But the larger point that you're raising in the question is, can Ugarte evolve his game? Can he improve? The answer certainly is yes. Let's not forget he's 23 years of age, and when you buy a player, you're never gonna get. It's rare for you to get a complete finished product. So you get a player that has elements that are developed and other elements that you will develop. And passing, long range passing, medium range passing is a big part of his evolution. So at 23 years of age, I think he has time to develop. An NFL quarterback, is somebody that's like the heartbeat. So I don't know if Ugarte is going to sort of do that per se, but he will have a very important impact in our midfield.
Well, he won't do that anyway because a quarterback throws the ball, not kicks the ball, right?
Yeah, it's about passing. That's the point that Scotty is trying to say, I think.
Okay. Scotty, I hope that answers your question. How am I doing, by the way, with this Q&As? I'm kind of curious.
You're doing good. Not Stu, but you're doing okay.
All right, then. We deserve better, of course. I'm substituting from the brilliant master of Q&As. His name is Stu Woolley. He's in the red light district of Pull My Man. Anyway, we have a question here for We Deserve Better. Why are we, the taxpayers, particularly bailing out capitalists? Who wants to take this one? I'm finding it very hard to delegate. Jarvis, have you answered?
Jarvis hasn't gone yet.
No, he hasn't. No.
It's a question for Tom.
Tom, yes.
I'm not even English. I don't pay tax.
I don't pay tax.
The Queen.
Tom, do you pay taxes?
I pay some taxes. There is a loophole. I'm not going to lie.
Like how Bowley has loopholes. Yeah. Okay.
I've discussed this with Jarvis before off stream anyway. How it all works, but no, yeah. Taxpayers pay for a lot of things at the end of the day. They flip the bill for a lot. I pay my fair share of taxes. I don't dodge tax bills. I've got everything registered within UK's, but I have got overseas as well. But I know the way that it works with infrastructure to build overseas. That's the reason why I do it personally. I don't do it to dodge tax paying. I live in this country. I pay my taxes to live in this country. I stay in this country most of the time of the year. Otherwise, I have to go abroad. But overall, we pay taxes partially bailing out capitalists because they gamble with your money. That's the way that it works. It's the same thing when you go to a bank and you get a loan. They make interest payments off of your loan, but regardless of if you pay it back or not, they're making something out of you. You have to sell yourself to get it. That's the reason why. But ultimately and overall, we all have to pay our way for anything that you want nowadays. But to answer the question short and simple, taxpayers pay for everything. That's just how it's always been, and that's how it will always be, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. We deserve better. I hope you're satisfied with this question. Next question goes to Stu. Are you ready? I see you're cozy there. You're in that cozy hotel bed, and Trevor Wade is coming with yet an uppercut. He's not satisfied. He's not satisfied, Stu. Are you ready? All right. So he's wondering, Stu, what is what are you there for, and what there is the room number for your hotel room? Guys, if you're listening, we might include a beep when he's answering the question.
Well, what you don't realise is, guys, me and Trevor have been FaceTiming while the whole show's been going on, and he's I won't tell you what he's wearing currently at the moment, but it's all right, guys. It's all right. What's my hotel room number? I can't actually remember. Yeah, I can't actually remember what my hotel room is. So, but it's somewhere in Budapest. Put it that way.
Yeah. Listen, thank you, Trevor Wade. And we have a question from the lovely Vicky Witterberg. And this is for all of you guys. This goes to all of you. I am not picking any special, but a question to the panel. What are you looking forward to this week? One by one.
I can go first.
Yeah.
My old mates and we have a club where we meet. Boys club. We meet once a year because just to keep in touch, and we've been doing this since I would say the early 2000s. I think this will be the 24th trip. So every year we meet one weekend just to be the guys again, as we used to be when we were younger.
This reminds me of a movie, Jarvis. What was it called? That Hangover 1, Hangover 2, Hangover 3, Hangover 4.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a hangover. So Thursday morning, I'm traveling. I can't even say where we're going in case some of them are listening, because no one knows where we are going. We just meet at Oslo Airport, Gardermoen. We get our tickets, everything handed out, everything planned, and we go.
Oh, interesting.
So this year I know where we're going, but it will be interesting. I will tell you.
You should document it and post it like on a members video. It's like, you know.
I know where you're going, Jarvis. I'll email you my bank details.
Moving on to Papi. What question to you? What are you looking forward this week? You're on mute.
I'm looking forward to unmuting. Okay, no, I was saying last week I mentioned to the boys that I've just started, being fit again to play, and so I'm looking forward to playing. I'm a striker, and it had been like a couple of months without playing. So this week I'm on the pitch again, so I'll be banging goals. So that's one thing that I'm looking. Yeah,
brilliant.
That's the other thing what these two gentlemen are doing in terms of. You said goals, but they'll probably do something else when it comes to bang, bang, shot, Anyway, sorry. Good. Sorry. It's late. Listen, Stu, what are you looking forward this week?
I'm looking forward to going home. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to going home. I was looking forward to his next one.
Screw you, guy. I'm going home.
I will be home on Wednesday afternoon, and I'll be taking the pitch Wednesday evening.
Right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Right. Okay. I go to you, Tom, as well. I'm sorry about that. I slipped the frog. I do apologize. I'm dyslexic. Okay, Tom, go ahead. What are you looking forward to do this week?
Getting this week out of the way. Get paid at the end of the weekend. Have a couple of drinks. Hopefully, Man United win. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your... Yeah, spread it around, Pappy. Spread the love. Spread the love as always.
Right.
We'll go Man United.
Go Man United.
But yeah, let's hope we get a win at the weekend. And just spend some time with family, friends, and chill a bit. Not live as hectic as I'd been more recently anyway.
So good.
Yeah. Perhaps I should also answer the question. Well, I am looking forward to meet my deadline person on my private work, which is on Wednesday. It's been a horrendous project, so I'm going to deliver that on Wednesday. And then looking forward to get back into more streaming and actually watch the European Cup game on Thursday, which I'm absolutely free. And then we have Spurs on the weekend. So it's going to be chill because it's been a horrendous couple of weeks. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Just football and streaming. Anyway, Elite Baller, guys, we have to move on. Question: rate the following out of 10 in terms of the harm they are causing to Manchester United, Ten Hag, Rashford, or Bruno. Who wants to go that one? Are we talking about media or are we talking about players?
Harm that they're causing to Man United.
Yeah, we'll do one each. I can do Ten Hag.
10 out of 10.
Here we go.
Well, no, I'm just kidding. No, I think he's doing well. I'm a Ten Hag. I defend Ten Hag. I think we need more time to get this project going, and I see positivity. So I'll 10 is making a lot of harm, and 1 nothing at all. Is that how it
that's
goes?
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So I'll give him a 3 for his in-game management, or a
Okay.
4. Okay, 4.
I'll give Rashford a 2 because Rashford has scored a brace this season. Like I think, like he has had a bad season last season, but if we're gonna look at this new chapter of this season, I think he's actually in a good moment. He was called in as a sub, and he didn't really have that much of an impact, but let's not forget, prior to this, even during preseason, he was starting to look a little bit better than the Rashford that we saw last season. So I'll just give him a light 2 or 3.
Okay.
So you think he's focused, and he has his mind on Man United, and is motivated to play for the club, and he's been doing his best.
He
for
actually
a lot of
brought
years.
this. Yeah. The celebration came back. Granted, whatever, it was
just asking.
honestly, but
He's been going to the nightclub hubs and started doing this.
Yeah,
you with me? You with me?
Going to Belfast.
He started doing this one.
I think I'll score Bruno then. I'll score Bruno a 5. I think he's. I think he's on the tipping point of either being absolutely crucial to us or a possible hindrance to us. He really is on that tipping point, based on what I was talking about earlier. Don't be mad at me, Pappy. Don't be upset with me.
Yeah, it's great. We can't agree every week,
Exactly right. I just think, but it's a good tipping point though, because it could well be crucial
It's a
to
good
us.
question. It's a good question.
Good
Tom,
you can do all 3, Tom. Quick, 10, 10, 10.
You want me to do all 3?
Yeah.
Ten Hag I'd give an 8. Rashford I'd give 3. Bruno I'd probably give a 5.
Okay. I'm going to be the devil's advocate, if I may, because
Go ahead.
I think this is a very good question.
It is a good question.
I think that you left out, number 1, media. This causing the most harm for Man United and Ten Hag, Bruno, and Rashford, because they're creating this agenda. And also, in general, our fan base is also becoming very, very influenced by them and opinionated. I'm not saying that everyone is like that, but we're also causing problems and harm to players and the club. Would you agree or disagree? Am I out of the line? I'm in trouble now, am I? Anyway, we deserve better. Continuous question here as well. Do you agree Martinez needs to be replaced in the summer? Who should I give that to? I give that to you, Jarvis, the host.
Wow.
Yeah, Martinez. No, he don't need to be replaced. I think Martinez is a great footballer. He's a little bit injury prone. That's the only thing I could see as a negative. I think he's a brilliant footballer. It's great technique. He's good at playing out of the back. He's aggressive. He has that little bit extra fire that South American. What do you call it? Juju? No, what do you call it, Mick?
American. Juju?
South American fire. You have
yes,
a name.
The mana, the spirit.
The mana. Yeah, he has the mana. So no, but I think we need more center backs. I think we need to replace Maguire, and we need more options. We need one more left-footed center back who could come in. And for me, I would go for the Bournemouth center back Senesi, the Argentinian left-footed center back. I think he's very similar to Martinez, and I think they could fill a similar role when playing for the. Yeah.
I never thought that we would have this discussion too early about replacing Martinez. I think he's been instrumental. But we're going to move on to Victor. Question: when Euro returns, will United play 3 at the back? Stu.
Wicket, that was and Jarvis and Tom and Mick and Pappy will all back me up on this. I said right at the summer, the profile of player, certainly defender he's bringing in is set up for 3 at the back. I think you will see it. And I think it'll surprise a lot of people. I really do, because it constitutes them for me. Jarvis likes a 3-4-3. I don't like a 3-4-3, actually. I like a 3-5-2. That's my personal thing. And I know why. I know why Jarvis is going for the 3, because of the way that we play the wingers, and I understand that, and I've got absolutely no issues with that. But with the 3-4-3, where does Bruno fit? And that's a question for Pappy. With a 3-5-2, then Bruno.
But that means if you play a 3-5-2, that means you can play with Xerxes and Højlund on top.
Correct. Yeah, Bruno fits. So that would be so. Wicker, yes, I could see that happening. I could see it in the summer, and I could see it happening. So
fantastic,
yes, I believe so.
Fantastic. Wicker, I hope you're satisfied. Vicky Witterberg is questioning here as well, coming in raw here. Was Haaland hard or not when he questioning Arteta? He's no Kino. Papi?
He's no Kino. And I mean, I think, Vicky was not saying what you thought first, Stu. I saw your face. But yeah. No, but
he's just been messaging me about it. And
No. I have to put my bias.
It wasn't that.
I have to put my bias aside about Erling Haaland and say, you know what? For me, as I told you guys at the beginning of the show, I watched a derby match, the Serie A derby, and also you could obviously Ligue 1 derby as well, watching Lyon versus Olympique Marseille. But the what I liked about Erling Haaland's like reaction towards Gabriel and Arteta, that's sort of what we need. The fire, the rivalry. There was too much huggy, lovey going on in the Premier League lately, and honestly, it makes me look forward to the reverse fixture when Arsenal are hosting Man City. Will there be a lot more like again?
Question.
But he's no Kino. He's no Kino.
Question.
Question.
Will there be a rematch? Potentially with the hearings, 115 charges. This report saying by January they could be relegated, so it might not be a rematch.
And the reports but okay.
And question number 2, then, if then there'll be relegation, will most of these players have an exodus in the close of contract if they get relegated? Will you take then Haaland to Manchester United?
Can't have him now. You can't take him. By the way, just one quick one though, guys. There's not a tough guy in football anymore. They don't exist.
No, only Jarvis.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Jarvis is only tough with a golf club in his hand.
Yeah. Look at that.
He brings us his wood and swings it out, smashes it. Okay. Thank you, Vicky, for your question. We got to move on. I'm conscious of time. Our loyal moderator, Stephanie Griffith. There can only be one Stephanie Griffith question. What's the difference between apologist and escapologist? Will Houdini Hag just survive the season? Tom, this is for you. This has got your name written all over the place.
He will.
I'm not so sure, because if he doesn't upturn result, put it this way, he missed out on top 4 last season. He got kept because he won the cup. If he does the exact same thing this season, I don't think they'll keep him. He has to get into that top 4. If he doesn't get into that top 4, and I'm not saying it from my own opinion, but I'm saying it from what I believe the club will think. You can't not finish in the top 4 2 seasons in a row. That's the way that these guys work. They're results guys. They're not people who they'll give a bit of time, but unless they're going to see some progress and results, forget about it. They'll get rid of you. But I always stand by the same point. I don't identify Ten Hag as their guy, but he is now because they kept him. So it's on Ineos if it goes tits up. As much as people want to say that I might blame Ten Hag towards it, no, it's more to the point of Ineos' point. They had the chance to make a change. They assessed the options, and they stuck by Ten Hag and said he's the best option out there. Before they got rejected by Tuchel and all the other bollocks that came out with all the other coaches. So love it or hate it, Eric Ten Hag wasn't their guy.
Yeah, true.
Guys,
I hope that's.
I gotta say my goodbyes to you guys. I gotta
Oh,
go
yeah.
on for dinner. I'm late already, but thank you, and don't forget to hit the like button if you're still tuned in. Shout out to you, subscribe, and all that stuff. Peace.
Okay, peace. Thanks, Poppy, for coming in.
Peace.
We got to wrap up. We have some questions from Trevor Wade. Also, brilliant question. For me, the weakest link at the back is Dalot. As soon as Shaw is back, he should be dropped. What do you panel think?
Yes.
Jarvis?
Interesting question from Trevor Wade. Actually, I've been thinking the same. I think Dalot do a good role when he inverts. Sometimes he looks a little bit lost because I don't think he really knows what to do on the ball when he has his back against the goal. He usually just play a one touch pass back again to the center defender. So in a way, I think he has his weaknesses, but he also has his strengths, obvious strengths. He never gives up. He has great pace. He works. He's consistent. So I wouldn't say he's a weak link, but I don't think he's a great left back. So I think he should be on the right. And I agree when Shaw comes back, if he can stay fit, he should be our left back.
It's also very interesting because Mazarawi has cemented his place on the right. So we know that that's Diego Dalot's place as well. So yeah, it's a good question. Now we have a kind of a different type of vibe of question. Alien Tenno is asking himself a question as well. How awesome can Alien get? Question mark.
Depends how many Stellas.
Yeah, how many Stellas do you have? Then, yeah, the more Stellas, the better. Peter, right?
Alien is a great guy. Always passionate about Man United and loyal follower of the show and in the chat. So big up, Alien, and you are awesome, man.
Yes, Michael comes in. We have 3 questions left. We're going to wrap this up. Michael Zachariah coming in. Question: would you keep Ten Hag if we get 4th and an FA Cup?
Let's give this question to the VAR room. Let them answer. Yes or no. Would you keep Ten Hag if you get 4th and FA Cup? It's really interesting to know. No, we don't need to use a poll, but just get your answers
comments,
in.
Yes or no.
Just put your comments. Yeah, I'm just looking at the start questions, so you can, Jarvis, you can have a look at the comment section there. But yeah, that's a good question. 100%.
Stephanie comes in with a yes, she would keep Ten Hag. Jamie Wayne, he actually says no. Johnny K, John Kermode comes in with a yes, he would keep Ten Hag if he gets 4 and a FA Cup. Jamie Wayne comes in again and say fuck no.
Okay, all right. No, that's a
well, Jamie Wayne is your opinion. And Lilis comes in and say Hag nope. So it's a no from.
So that means that 4th gets you into Champions League and you win a cup, and you said no. Okay.
Yeah. Trevor Wade says yes, and Amir Fikri says Ruud our future manager.
Potentially, yes, could be successor. So that answers your question, Michael, as well. We're going to go to Stephanie Griffith again. Question: a person thinks centre back should be captain, vice captain. Do you agree? Captaincy isn't working for Bruno and De Ligt. Licha would be better team leaders.
Well, as a resident centre half, I'll take that, and I am a centre half and skipper, Stephanie. But let me tell you something about captaincy on a football pitch. Nobody really pays any attention to the skipper. I never pay a blind bit of notice to any skipper I've ever played under, and I'm pretty sure nobody pays any attention to me when I'm directing the traffic. So you do have to have a skipper, but unfortunately, a captain today is more of a token gesture. He goes, he gives the pendant, and he does the coin toss, and that's really about it. You need to be playing with 5 to 7 leaders, top quality leaders, any given team. So I can speak from experience on that one, Steph.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Stephanie, for your question. We got to move on as well. Michael Zachariah again with a question. Nuzari Mazarawi, excellent form at right back. Would you bench Dalot when Luke Shaw returns? I think we answered this question to full fitness. Yeah, we did. Yeah. And we said yes.
Good question. Good question.
It's a very good question, but we answered that question before, so we need to be conscious of time. And we have a question from Simon Davis as well. This is kind of the last question as well of the night before we have a very good surprise as well, a super chat coming in as well. Question from Simon Davis regarding your defense and the rest of the squad. Do you all feel this is a work in progress? Very good question.
It's yours, because I think Simon Davis is a Manchester City fan, but he's always respectful in this chat. So big up Simon Davis, and thank you for the question.
He knows football. He's got a deep knowledge of ball, Davis, and he views football not from a City point of view, but from a football point of view, like we all do. We're all purists of the game, and look. Our defence is probably the strongest it's been since, in my opinion, the Vidic Ferdinand / Bruce Pallister days, throwing Yap Stam, and we're as strong as we were back then.
Ronnie Johnson.
Ronnie Johnson, of course. Our weak link is Dalot. We've all discussed that. And our weak link is Luke Shaw. We've all discussed that. If we can get a solid left back in the summer, just somebody to either support Malacia or take over from Malacia, you're going to see a different type of Manchester United moving forward. But it is a work in progress. But watch this space, Simon. Watch this space.
Yeah. I mean, even Milos Kerkez was also mentioned not long ago either. I mean,
Anthony.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Simon Davis, for your contribution. And to top this off, guys, we have a super chat.
Super chat.
And that is the brilliant Jonathan Liljenberg from Sweden, all the way from down south Sweden, somewhere in Lund or Malmö. I think he says, big up. We need more players that plays simple. And I agree. Simplicity. I think that I mentioned that. I mean, regarding Marcus Rashford, he needs to go back to play it simple, and he's starting to do that. Before, Marcus played it very difficult and make it very hard for himself and taking on 3 defenders and just crashing into the wall. But I think he's starting to understand that you have to go back to basic and play it simple, right? Manuel Gata for me also plays it very simple, right? Guys, what do you think?
I was muted. Sorry about that.
That was embarrassing.
Oh yeah, it's a long pause, Jarvis.
It's getting late. I agree with Jonathan Liljenberg coming in with a brilliant 20 Swedish kroner super chat. But as I said, we need more players who can play the ball simple. But playing simple is the hardest thing there is. I think it was Johan Cruyff who said that famous words a lot of years ago. And it comes, it goes with footballing IQ and knowing what to do with the ball before you receive it. So for me, we need more players with high footballing intelligence, and this is where I think we can do better.
Sorry. Lovely. I actually agree with you, Jarvis. I think I've said this for a long time, actually, haven't I, about intelligence within the game, and I stand by that. Whatever we do, come the summer, we have to line up the right types of profile, the right types of players. So 100% agree.
Yeah, and I think that's the end of the Q&A session. We have one more question. I think it's Kat, big up Kat coming in. They say, do you think Ten Hag should refuse to answer questions such as dressing room problems? I'll give that to Mick because you didn't get
Yeah,
many questions.
it was cat that asked the question. This cat,
Yeah.
or
No,
was
not
it? Oh no, not that cat. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
it wasn't you. Get down. Yes, get down. No, I didn't say Ugarte yet. Sorry. Do you think Ten Hag should refuse to answer questions such as dressing room problems? 100% yes. I think that it has nothing to do with footballing questions. I mean, I do the press conferences live, and all I want to hear is like, what's the team news? What is the progress? How are you going to play? What's your tactics? I'm done with these dressing room problems. Like, that doesn't belong, right? That is, gossip papers, like, Hollywood Insider. Yeah. Kat, I hope that answers your question.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you, Kat. I will jump back into the driving seat because I think we are just wrapping up the show now, because it's been a brilliant 2 hours and 35 minutes and 12 seconds as we speak. I will thank Papi for coming on, Tom Journalist for coming on, Stu Woolley coming on directly from Hungary, Budapest.
Sorry, I was late.
Join us. And of course, Mick Ruby, who came in late, but he was first as my panel guests. So thank you, Mick, for joining us for once on Jarvis's Corner. I know it's your day off, but and your cat. What's your name?
Misha. He's the special. He came in late. Special guest. What happened to my camera, guys? There's goblins in here. Misha. Sorry.
There's goblins here.
Well, Misha the cat. And I will thank you people in the VAR room, Cat, Madison, Blitz Extreme, Jamie Wayne, Elite Baller, Trevor Uvaid for all his banter, Amir Fikir, Stephanie Griffith, our loyal admin, or what do you call it? Moderator, yeah. Trevor Wade, I mentioned him. Nice. I see Jonathan Lilienberg with the super chat. We had the super chat from Peter and a lot of questions. Witterbird, we deserve better. Wicker, Rushmano.
Yeah, excellent questions.
So thank you for sitting and watching us tonight. 2.5 hours of footballing talk. We will be back on Jarvis's Corner next Monday. For you guys, maybe I think I will be here next Monday. I will be back from
the hangover
place.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
I will tell you all about it next week. So guys, remember to tune in. Thank you. If you haven't, smash the like, subscribe, and share the good message of Jarvis's Corner. We will be back next Monday. See you in a bit.
There you go.
Bye.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.
Oh no, we are still live. Look at that.